Chapter 11:17. The arrival of the myriad Devil Islands meant that all the major powers in the immortal realms had arrived. The entire Nine Tripod City was in an uproar. In the region where the Sacred Academy was located, in that vast stretch of land, there were countless experts from the immortal emperors of the immortal realms. However, even for ordinary immortal emperors, they wouldn't be too conspicuous. Only the strongest peak powers would be able to become the center of attention. Qin Wentian glanced over. He actually couldn't see the end of it. There were simply too many major powers here. Even the city of ancient emperors wouldn't have such an allure. Qin Wentian mumbled. The city of ancient emperors has always been in the immortal realms. The city of ancient emperors has always been in the immortal realms. The peak geniuses of the various major powers would all head there. It's just that the timing of their arrival is different. However, the Sacred Academy is different. The appearance of the Sacred Academy is a stroke of good fortune. The last time it appeared was during the Ancient Era, and the appearance of the Sacred Academy meant that the era of ancient emperors has begun. How could it not attract the hegemonic powers of the immortal realms? Bai Wuya spoke in a low voice. For the major powers in the immortal realms, which one of them didn't want to become an ancient emperor character, standing at the peak of the immortal realms? Since the Tiandao Sacred Academy had such an omen, how could they not come? All of you scram. At this moment, a cold voice rang out. The crowd in the air parted, opening up a path. In the air, a group of experts descended. These experts all exuded terrifying demonic qi. And what made people feel strange was that some of the more powerful experts were actually being ridden on by humans. Their bodies were incomparably gigantic, exuding the might of immortal kings. Immortal kings as servants? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he stared at the group of tyrannical experts rushing over. Upon seeing the towering demonic qi exuding from them, as well as the demonic light in their eyes, Qin Wentian instantly knew that these were experts from the demonic race. The Sky Rock Greater Demon race of the western regions. The Tianping people possess the bloodline of the ancient Sky Rock, and are truly pure-blooded greater demons. They are incomparably tyrannical and powerful. The powerful human Wuxia can control demonic birds while the Tianping people have many human servants. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Humans and demons were different races. Demons looked at humans the same way humans looked at demons. Whoever was stronger would dominate the other. The Tianping people were the pure-blooded Tianping Great Demon clan in the west. They were incomparably arrogant. In their eyes, the Tianping people were the highest existence, and the human Wuxia was lowly. Get lost. This group of great demons urged on human experts to advance, their speed extremely fast. They shouted loudly, directly rushing to the very front of the Sacred Academy, quickly descending. Their gazes were incomparably arrogant as they surveyed all directions. Even a bunch of beasts dare to be so arrogant. A mocking voice rang out, causing the eyes of everyone to flash with shock in their hearts. There was actually someone who dared to mock the Tianping people. The eyes of the experts from the Tianping people flashed, incomparably sharp as they stared at the person who spoke. That person was a group of experts standing at the very front. Their auras were extremely shocking, exuding a sense of nobility, as though they were born emperors. People from the Nine Emperors' immortal state. The eyes of everyone flashed. The Nine Emperors' immortal state was a peak power in the central regions. They cultivated the Nine Grand Emperor Codex and had boundless might. They were one of the three great immortal empires in the central regions, and were at the peak of their power. Scram out here. An expert from the Tianping people coldly spoke. His voice was sharp and his eyes gleamed with golden light, terrifying to the extreme. Impudent. A young man from the Nine Emperors dynasty berated. It's fine if a bunch of beasts can be so arrogant in the western regions, but don't be so arrogant here. Another voice rang out. The person who spoke was an expert from the Ashii Sengoku Kingdom, one of the three great immortal empires in the central regions along with the Nine Emperors' immortal state. Roar. A thunderous roar thundered out as a towering killing intent engulfed the area. From afar, war chariots could be seen flying over. A group of greater demons exuding terrifying auras could be seen. The word king was engraved on their foreheads, exuding a fearsome aura. White Tiger Greater Demon Race. The eyes of everyone flashed. The White Tiger Greater Demon Race was the easiest to recognize. The members of their royal clan all had the word king engraved on their foreheads, exuding a fearsome, baleful aura. Do you want to start a war? An expert from the Nine Emperors' immortal state spoke. This place was the Nine Tripod City, the eastern regions of the immortal realms. How could they be afraid of these greater demons? Even if these pure-blooded greater demons had towering combat prowess, as a peak power of the central regions, how could they be afraid? Boom! The war chariots of the White Tiger race surged forward, exuding a fearsome might that shook the heavens and earth. The experts from the Nine Emperors' immortal state snorted coldly as they advanced forward as well. For a period of time, a resplendent immortal light illuminated the area as the aura of emperors radiated out in all directions. The ancient Tiandao Sacred Academy is a sacred cultivation ground for humans and demons alike. Since the Sacred Academy has appeared, what's there to fight for? At this moment, a charming laughter rang out. In a certain direction, a group of white-robed fairies could be seen floating there. Their beauty was unparalleled, and their countenances were all top-tier. In fact, they were even more outstanding compared to the Southern Phoenix clan, causing people to involuntarily want to get closer to them. People from the Jadestige Immortal Palace of the North. Bai Wuxia, who was beside Qin Wentian, spoke in a low voice, informing the various powers so that the juniors of the Immortal Qianbian Gate could understand a thing or two. The fairies of the Jadestige Immortal Palace really know how to speak. The experts from the White Tiger race stared at the maidens from the Jadestige Immortal Palace and laughed. The Jadestige Immortal Palace is truly a place with many beauties. If there's a chance, come to my race as a guest. Maybe there's a chance to form a human-demon romance. Many experts from the White Tiger race laughed, not concealing the lust in their eyes at all. Vile beasts will always be vile beasts. The experts from the Nine Emperors' immortal state coldly spoke. A raging wind gusted over. Everyone inclined their heads, and saw a group of experts rushing over from afar. Among them, there were many who were carrying an immortal palanquin. The person in the palanquin must surely have an extremely lofty status, or there wouldn't be such a lineup. These are also experts from the northern powers, the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Bai Wuxia's knowledge was vast, he could instantly tell which power they were from the moment he saw them. Younger sister Yu Huang is here. A powerful female immortal king from the Jadestige Immortal Palace smiled. After that, the palanquin descended. The curtains of the palanquin fluttered in the wind. Within it, a supreme countenance could be seen. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the palanquin. The supreme countenance in the palanquin actually felt somewhat familiar. Who is this person? Qin Wentian asked. She should be the princess of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Princess Kitamura. She is a famous beauty in the northern regions and her talent is extremely outstanding. Bai Wuxia spoke. After that, the curtains of the palanquin opened as a graceful figure with a perfect figure walked out. That countenance was shockingly beautiful, yet incomparably cold and arrogant, exuding an aura of nobility. It's her? Qin Wentian's eyes flickered as a strange light flickered within. Little Rascal who was on his back also let out whimpering sounds as it stared in that direction. He had actually seen this woman before. Back then in the city of ancient emperors, there was a woman who was like a phantom, able to possess the bodies of others and control them to do battle. She was like a female ghost from the netherworld, beautiful to the point of suffocation. She was none other than this woman before him. Right now, this woman's true body appeared. Her demeanor was completely different, cold and noble. She was none other than the lofty Princess Kitamura, an immortal king princess of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Princess Kitamura seemed to have sensed something. Her eyes flashed as she stared in the direction of Qin Wentian. After that, when she saw Little Rascal in Qin Wentian's embrace, her beautiful eyes gleamed with sharpness. Little Rascal shrank its head and spoke in a baby voice. Oh my God, this female ghost also has an inheritance. She will devour this Bao. Inheritance of the Brahma Heavenly Emperor. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. Princess Kitamura also had an inheritance of the Brahma Heavenly Emperor. Most probably, The reason why she entered the city of ancient emperors back then was because she wanted to obtain another inheritance. Princess Kitamura shifted her cold and arrogant gaze away. She didn't look in this direction, but was staring at the sacred academy instead. This woman is so cold. Little rascal mumbled, feeling some trepidation when he looked at Princess Kitamura. At this moment, the roars of dragons could be heard from afar, shaking the heavens and earth. Inclining their heads, they saw numerous true demonic dragons flying over, transforming into human forms and descending to the ground. This caused the eyes of the experts from the central regions to flicker. Even the demonic dragons from the Western Sea Dragon Island had arrived. The various major powers were arranged according to their strength. Only those peak emperor-ranked powers had the qualifications to be at the front. Even for powers like the immortal Qianbian Gate, they didn't have the qualifications to be at the front. There were simply too many major powers in the immortal realms. In the central regions, the three great immortal empires, the 9 emperors immortal state, the Ashii Sengoku Kingdom, the Sunluo Immortal Empire, the Nibelsky Sacred Cult, the Thunder God Hall, and other supreme powers. In the southern regions, there were the 3 ancient races. In the western regions, there were the Tianping people, the White Tiger people, the Scorpion King race, and other supreme demonic races with pure-blooded bloodlines. There were also experts from the myriad Devil Islands. Behind the various major powers, there were countless spectators. It was unknown how many supreme demon-level geniuses would appear. Just being able to catch a glimpse of the glory of these major powers was already enough to make them feel very satisfied. Many of these major powers had deep conflicts with each other. For example, the matters between the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Evergreen Kingdom have yet to be concluded. But right now, the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom actually didn't mention anything about the adjudication battle, as though they wanted to temporarily toss all their grudges aside and make preparations to enter the Sacred Academy. Finally, on this day, within the Sacred Academy, beams of light shot down from the sky, transforming into a towering platform. This towering platform was enveloped by boundless astral light, and on top of it, there was a sacrificial altar. Over there, a figure wielding a scepter could be seen. This figure was faintly discernible, like an illusory existence. This wasn't the true body of this figure. Immortal kings outside of the immortal emperor realm have a chance to enter the Sacred Academy. For those who have cultivated for over 100,000 years, we won't accept them. Right now, only immortal kings below 100 years of age can ascend to the sacrificial altar. The figure wielding the scepter spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the immortal kings from the peak powers all stepped out, wanting to enter the ancient Tiandao Sacred Academy. This Tiandao Sacred Academy didn't accept immortal emperors, only immortal kings and immortal foundation characters. Also, they had to undergo a talent test before they would have a chance to enter. Chapter 11:18. After the figure on the platform spoke, immortal kings immediately flew up. A moment later, a mysterious energy enveloped them, causing their bodies to turn translucent. Even their bones and meridians were faintly discernible. Immortal kings have already reached a certain level, and can be said to have already embarked on their own path. It's much easier to see one's talent. As for immortal emperors, their talent is already fixed. The Tiandao Sacred Academy won't accept them. Bai Wuya spoke in a low voice. The gazes of everyone turned to the platform only to see that figure waving the scepter in his hand. A moment later, 100 beams of light shot out from the scepter, landing on the 100 immortal kings. This scepter seemed to be connected to the bones and meridians of the immortal kings. The 100 beams of light flickered and gradually, the light from many of them dimmed. Extinguish the light from the scepter. You can go down yourself. This illusory figure calmly spoke. Many people had looks of disappointment on their faces. These people were all peak-level immortal kings from the various major powers. However, the majority of them had their scepters connected to them dimmed. They could only walk down the platform, feeling somewhat embarrassed. As for the others, enter the Sacred Academy. That shadow continued. The light from the scepter transformed into runes that shone on them. Those immortal kings then walked towards the Sacred Academy, and actually directly entered the Sacred Academy, vanishing from sight. Next batch. That shadow continued speaking. Another 100 immortal kings stepped up the platform. Among them, there were some extremely famous immortal kings, causing the crowd to exclaim in shock. The people of Nine Tripod City were more familiar with the supreme immortal kings of the eastern regions. When they called out their names, the commotion was extremely great. However, Qin Wentian wasn't familiar with them. Even for those supreme immortal kings, he didn't know them at all. Hence, he wasn't too interested in them. He only discovered that even for the most outstanding immortal kings, there weren't many who could enter the Sacred Academy. However, even for immortal kings, there were simply too many of them. Hence, there were still quite a few who managed to enter the Sacred Academy. Finally, Wuxia said, "I'm going to give it a try with the Celestial Kings. After I enter the Sacred Academy, you guys take care of yourselves." Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with a hint of a smile. Brother Wuxia was really confident. It was as if he had already entered the Sacred Academy. The people around him also smiled. They all seemed to believe in Wuxia. Many immortal kings of the immortal Qianbian Gate stepped out, landing on the towering platform. Qin Wentian discovered that the beautiful princess of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Princess Kitamura, had also stepped onto the towering platform. The light from the scepter landed on them. The light from Wuxia and Princess Kitamura was incomparably resplendent, showing no signs of dimming. Upon seeing this scene, the people of the immortal Qianbian Gate all laughed. As expected of the white robe immortal king whose name shook an entire region. Other than Wuxia, there were several other immortal kings from the immortal Qianbian Gate, who entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian knew that almost all of them were immortal kings from the Heavenly Talisman realm. Naturally, there were also some who didn't manage to enter the Heavenly Talisman realm. The recruitment criteria of the Heavenly Talisman realm was extremely strict. Everyone must have outstanding talent, but not everyone was a peak-level demon-level genius. Back then when Qin Wentian joined the Heavenly Talisman realm, his horizons were lower. Now his horizons were even higher and his talent was much higher compared to back then when he first joined the Heavenly Talisman realm. Hence, he also understood that not everyone from the Heavenly Talisman realm was a peak-level genius. Time flowed by, more and more people whom Qin Wentian was acquainted with appeared. For example, Zi Qingshuan's senior apprentice sister, Chongqing Longhao, and Zidi's son, Zi Daolong, appeared as well. Although the age limit was set at 100,000 years, there were still immortal kings appearing unceasingly. One could only say that the number of people attracted to the Tiandao Sacred Academy was simply too many. And these were merely immortal kings. There were even more immortal foundation experts. Finally, on the towering platform, there were no longer any immortal kings appearing. That illusory figure with the scepter in his hand didn't seem to be fatigued at all. He stared at the vast crowd as he spoke. Next, immortal foundation experts. For those above 10,000 years of age, don't come up. For those who don't have a violet gold astral soul, don't come up. For those who haven't established a king-grade immortal foundation, don't come up. As the sound of his voice faded, the countenances of countless people who didn't have outstanding talent turned ashen. They still wanted to try their luck, but the words of that illusory figure directly cut off their hopes. For immortal foundation experts, those above 10,000 years of age, don't accept. Those without a violet gold astral soul, don't accept. Those below the king-grade immortal foundation, don't accept. These three conditions were merely the initial ones. They only needed to have the qualifications to enter the Sacred Academy. Next, there would still be an inspection. If they didn't meet the requirements, they would still be expelled. In addition, there's a limit to the number of immortal foundation experts the Sacred Academy can recruit. No matter how many people you bring, the Sacred Academy will at most only accept 20,000 disciples, including demonic beasts. That illusory figure spoke again, his words causing many people to feel extremely nervous. This time around, it was unknown how many geniuses from the various regions of the immortal realms were here. 20,000 people sounded like a lot, but if one thought about it carefully, they would discover that 20,000 people was a frighteningly small number. For example, there were over 10 peak powers in the immortal realms. And for those powers like the 9 Emperors' immortal state, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, and the Ying clan, each of them had several thousand experts. Not only that, these experts were all elites from their respective clans and clans. In total, the number of Immortal Foundation experts they brought would exceed a terrifying number. Other than this, in the boundlessly vast Immortal Realms, how many nobility experts were there? How many juniors did they have? All the outstanding Immortal Foundation geniuses from the central regions of the Immortal Realms had all rushed here. Right now, with the Sacred Academy as the center, the surrounding area was filled with a sea of people. Because there are simply too many of you, I plan to select the most outstanding ones first. The bottom line is that you must have 2 violet gold astral souls. For demonic beasts, you must be able to sense constellations from the 7th heavenly layer, and have a tyrannical pure bloodline. In addition, for those below the 6th level of Immortal Foundation, you must establish a 4th-ranked King-grade Immortal Foundation. For those above the 6th level, you must establish a 5th-ranked King-grade Immortal Foundation. For those who meet the requirements, please stand in front of me. That illusory figure wielded a scepter, and walked to the side of the platform, staring at the boundless sea of people as he spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, a moment later, many people moved forward, arriving at a location not far away from the platform. Those disciples from the peak powers of the Immortal Realms were the first to move. Many supreme geniuses stepped out with intense confidence. Among them, there were some with outstanding talent. Their arrogance towered up to the clouds as they walked forward with their heads held high. At the same time, many powerful demonic beasts with pure-blooded bloodlines also stepped out, exuding a fearsome aura as they occupied a location. From the myriad devil islands, a group of experts stepped out, exuding terrifying devil might. When they stared at the crowd, their eyes gleamed with a provocative light. After entering the Sacred Academy, we will capture some people from the myriad devil islands as slaves. A pure-blooded greater demon from the Tianpeng people stared at the experts from the myriad devil islands as he spoke. His tone was incomparably arrogant, as though he didn't have anyone in his eyes. Such pure-blooded demonic beasts, it's not bad to capture them as mounts. This is especially so for the Tianpeng people. They are natural-born slaves. If it's really too hard to tame them, we can roast their bloodlines. It should be a great nourishment for us. An expert from the myriad devil islands had a blood-red glow in his eyes as devil might gushed forth. All of you shut up. If you want to compete, it won't be too late for you to enter the Sacred Academy. A cold voice rang out. It was a young expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. He exuded the aura of an emperor, unexcelled in the world, like the leader of the human race, Wuxia. Although he was still young, his aura was extremely imposing. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to me like this? How could the experts from the Tianpeng people give up? The shadow on the platform didn't stop them. The spectators from afar were all watching with interest. As expected of the demon-level characters at the peak, they were already so angry even before they entered the Sacred Academy. These people were all peak-level geniuses from the various regions, and all of them were confident that they weren't weaker than others. They were all characters with unrivaled talent. How could they be willing to submit to others? If all of them entered the Sacred Academy together, it would surely be a battle between dragons and tigers, incomparably fascinating. Several people from the Namhuang clan stepped out. Qingner glanced in the direction of the immortal Qianbian Gate before she walked out. Let's go over, Qin Wentian said. In an instant, a group of mighty experts walked out from the direction of the immortal Qianbian Gate. Seeing this scene, many people had a strange look in their eyes. This was strange. Which force were these people from? Why did so many young geniuses come out? The shadow on the starry sky platform had made it very clear that the requirements for the first batch of people were very high. Not ordinary geniuses were qualified to be selected. Even superforces like the 9 Emperors' immortal state, the Ashi Sengoku Kingdom, and the Tianpeng people only had a few people come out. However, this force actually sent out 50 or 60 people. This number was simply shocking. The people from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom frowned when they saw this scene. Their Tenlon Heaven Kingdom also had a group of outstanding geniuses. But wasn't the immortal Qianbian Gate a little too arrogant? What qualifications did they have to send out so many people? This was simply courting humiliation for themselves. There were naturally many people from the immortal Qianbian Gate. Qin Wentian brought 36 experts from the Battle Saint tribe with him. In addition to Jun Mengchen, Purgatory and Little Rascal, there were a total of 40 people. In addition, there were also some disciples from the Heavenly Talisman realm mixed in with the immortal Qianbian Gate. Hence, the number of people they sent out was extremely vast, even surpassing the number of people from the 9 Emperors' immortal state, the Ashi Sengoku Kingdom, the Ying clan and the Namhuang clan. Where did these people come from? They actually don't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. Someone mocked. The experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state stared at them as they frowned. When they saw Qin Wentian and the others walking over, they spoke. Did you guys hear the conditions clearly? Don't think that this is the territory of your sect, and you can do whatever you want. We naturally understand. Jun Mengchen retorted. How arrogant. The experts from the myriad Devil Islands had a cold smile on their faces. That human Wuxia of the immortal realms truly doesn't know his own limits. Where are you guys from? The beautiful maidens from the Jadestige Immortal Palace smiled. Eastern regions, Immortal Qianbian Gate. Qin Wentian replied. Immortal Qianbian Gate? I've never heard of it before. An expert from a peak power from the central regions spoke. A newly risen power, it's not worth a mention. Someone spoke. Qin Wentian glanced at those who spoke as he spoke. Very soon, you guys will know of the immortal Qianbian Gate. Chapter 11-19. This time around, several thousand Immortal Foundation experts stepped out. These people were all extremely confident in themselves. They stood at the very front, and many of them were from the various major powers. All of you scram. The experts from the Tianpeng people stood in the middle of the crowd as they berated the experts in the surroundings. All of them were incomparably arrogant, not allowing others to get close to them. Fine, all of you can come up here in groups of 100. Human Wuxia, release your astral souls and immortal foundations. Demon, release your bloodline power and immortal foundations. On the towering platform, the shadow with the scepter in his hand spoke again. After that, the experts from the Tianpeng people instantly transformed into bolts of lightning, landing on the towering platform. Humph! The experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state coldly snorted. Their silhouettes flickered as they flew towards the towering platform. The experts from the myriad Devil Islands also moved at the same time, rushing towards the towering platform. There were already over 100 of them. They exchanged glances with each other, their gazes gleaming with sharpness as they increased their speed. Finally, some of them stepped onto the towering platform, and when the number of people reached 100, the others halted their steps. According to the words of the expert on the towering platform, everyone released their astral souls and immortal foundations. Under the astral light, their bodies shimmered with a glass-like light, and one could faintly see their meridians. At this instant, the towering platform was incomparably dazzling. All sorts of astral souls shone resplendently, simply shocking everyone. Almost all the stellar martial cultivators had their first astral soul at the 4th or 5th heavenly layer. This was simply too terrifying. In addition, all of them had astral souls that originated from the 7th heavenly layer. Their immortal foundations were all at the king grade, and for those at the upper 3 heavenly layers, their immortal foundations were all at the 5th tier. At the pinnacle, they were just a step away from establishing a perfect saint-grade immortal foundation. These demonic beasts unleashed their pure bloodlines. In an instant, their demonic chi towered up into the sky, terrifying to the extreme. Their entire bodies radiated demonic might as the shadow of demonic beasts manifested in the air. Their demon foundations were all extremely tyrannical as well. How dazzling! As expected of those who stand at the peak. The 9 Emperors dynasty, myriad Devil Islands, Tianpeng people, all of them have outstanding talent, simply incomparable. That supreme genius from the 9 Emperors dynasty has 6 astral souls that originated from the 5th heavenly layer, 5th heavenly layer, 6th heavenly layer, 7th heavenly layer, and his immortal foundation is a 5th-ranked king grade. It's simply too shocking. It can be said to be perfect and flawless. The hearts of everyone trembled. Yeah, such a combination of astral souls and immortal foundation. Truly unparalleled under the heavens. Many people sighed. Alright, all of you stand to the side first. There will be another 100 people. The shadow didn't choose anyone right away. It seemed that he wanted to observe everyone's condition before making a decision. The next batch of experts stepped onto the towering platform. There were experts from the Ashii Sengoku Kingdom, White Tiger People, and myriad Devil Islands. All of them were incomparably dazzling. After that, more and more experts stepped onto the towering platform. Each batch was extremely dazzling, and there was no lack of supreme geniuses like the one from the 9 Emperors dynasty. There were also some who didn't release all their astral souls, and only released their final few astral souls as well as their immortal foundations. Just from this alone, everyone could feel how tyrannical they were. But now, all these supreme geniuses were gathered in one place. More and more experts stepped onto the platform, causing many to feel a little numb. If it wasn't for the fact that these supreme geniuses of the immortal realms were all gathered here, they wouldn't even dare to imagine that there would be such terrifying characters. Just their astral souls and immortal foundations were already shocking enough. Let alone the fact that they have yet to display their combat prowess. Once they fought, their combat prowess would be even more dazzling. The people from the Immortal Champion Gate are going up. The Immortal Champion Gate is a newly risen power, yet they actually dared to be so arrogant, sending out so many people. Aren't they afraid of embarrassing themselves? Many major powers stared at the people from the Immortal Champion Gate. This was especially so for the Ying Clan, Dongshengshan Gate, and the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. Their countenances were all cold, truly seeking their own humiliation. An expert from the Dongshengshan Gate coldly snorted. The people from the Immortal Champion Gate, Namhuang Clan, and Evergreen Kingdom all stepped onto the towering platform together. There were also some people from GD's sect who followed Qing. Other than them, Hua Taishu also appeared. After they parted ways in the city of ancient emperors, Qin Wentian and the others whose names shook the entire city of ancient emperors once again gathered here. Once, they had a monopoly on the rankings in the city of ancient emperors. This time around, they were going to enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy together. There are quite a few beauties here. An expert from the White Tiger People stared at the beauties beside Qin Wentian as an evil light flashed in his eyes. Qing Namhuang Yunxi, Namfeng Xinga and the others were all beauties of the human race. As for Purgatory, she was a demonic beast beauty, causing some of the demons to drool. Let's hope she isn't an embroidered pillow. An expert from the Sunluo Immortal Empire calmly spoke. After that, Qin Wentian and the others released their astral souls. Beams of resplendent light illuminated the area, incomparably resplendent. These high-grade astral souls instantly caused many to be dazzled. Without exception, all of them had a pair of violet gold astral souls. What was even more terrifying was that among the beams of light, everyone could see a beam of black golden light that stood out from the masses. This beam of light was the only thing in the world that could only be possessed by a single person. There had never been such a thing before. Black golden light, astral soul from the 8th heavenly layer. The hearts of everyone trembled as their gazes turned to the young man. This young man was actually none other than Qin Wentian. His astral soul combination, 5th heavenly layer, 5th heavenly layer, 6th heavenly layer, 7th heavenly layer, 8th heavenly layer. Such a perfect combination made him a unique existence, surpassing all the geniuses before him, including those from the 9 Emperors Immortal State and Ashii Sengoku Kingdom. Not only for him, the people around him also didn't have any astral souls that didn't meet the requirements. At this moment, many people shut their mouths. What perfect astral souls! I wonder what their immortal foundations are like. The hearts of the crowd trembled. A good astral soul doesn't necessarily mean that the grade of their immortal foundations is high. Let's continue watching. Everyone mused silently. After that, everyone released their immortal foundations. In an instant, numerous immortal foundations appeared before the eyes of everyone. Also, on the towering platforms in the starry space, their immortal foundations gleamed with a unique luster. It was very easy to tell the degree of perfection and grade of their immortal foundations. What kind of immortal foundation is that? Countless gazes landed on the space above Qin Wentian. Up there was a human-shaped immortal foundation that seemed to contain a myriad of transformations. Within it, there were also attribute energies from his astral souls, as well as destructive and suppressive might that could be faintly discerned. The luster of this immortal foundation is perfect. Under the illumination of the astral light, there aren't any cracks at all. In addition, this luster caused many of the immortal foundations around him to lose their luster. This must be the legendary Saint-grade immortal foundation. Someone spoke in a low voice. At this instant, silence filled the entire space. After insta-killing everyone in the astral river realm, the legendary Saint-grade immortal foundation appeared. He was truly unrivaled. No one could compare to him. Even when the geniuses of the immortal realms gathered here, he was still unrivaled. At the very least, his immortal foundation and astral souls were the same. A legendary immortal foundation. Those supreme geniuses stared at Qin Wentian as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. What kind of energy did this man cultivate? His immortal foundation was actually so perfect. Could it be that he had some sort of supremely powerful secret art? Look at the person beside him. Many people turned their gazes over, staring at Jun Mengchen. His immortal foundation was also flawless and resplendent. It was actually a saint-grade immortal foundation as well. How is this possible? Many people felt as though they were unexcelled in the world. If these two were high-level immortal foundation experts, they wouldn't be so shocked. Both of them were at the second level of immortal foundation. How could their immortal foundations be perfect? They had just established their immortal foundations not long ago and they had already reached perfection? One must know that there were 9 levels of immortal foundation, each level of the heavens. This process would allow immortal foundation experts to reach perfection. However, these two people were only at the second level of immortal foundation, and their immortal foundations were already at the legendary saint grade. There's still one more. Everyone then glanced at Nam Huangyunxi. After she released her immortal foundation, it was also perfect. Nam Huangyunxi was originally a 5th-tier king-grade immortal foundation. After she entered the ancestral lands, she stepped into the second level of immortal foundation, and her immortal foundation became perfect. There's still this Bao Bao. Little Rascal also released his own demonic foundation. There were differences in the cultivation of demons and humans, but there were no differences. Demons were born with the ability to sense astral souls of the same race, and directly absorb astral energy from them. The stronger their perception, the higher the astral souls they could form a connection with. After stepping into the demon immortal realm, they could also establish their own demonic foundations. This group of people, they must have cultivated some secret arts. Everyone couldn't help but to speculate when they saw that Little Rascal's immortal foundation was also perfect. If not, how could there be such a coincidence that the most perfect immortal foundation would appear on the same group of people? But no matter what, this group of people truly shocked everyone. The mocking laughter earlier was filled with mockery. Who said that the immortal Qianbian Gate couldn't produce so many geniuses? They used the most direct method to refute the doubts of others. Just like what Qin Wentian said, very soon, everyone would know of the existence of the immortal Qianbian Gate. At this moment, the major powers of the immortal realms all remembered that in the eastern regions, there was a power named the immortal Qianbian Gate. For this generation, the geniuses from the immortal Qianbian Gate weren't any weaker compared to those peak powers from the central regions. In fact, their fame even surpassed them. This was especially so for Qin Wentian. Regardless of his astral souls or immortal foundation, they were both unparalleled. No one could be compared to him. When Qin Wentian and his group walked to the side, many people were staring at them. The demonic eyes of those demonic beasts gleamed with a demonic light. As for those experts from the myriad devil islands, battle intent could be seen in their eyes as well, as though they were very interested. Among these people from the myriad devil islands, there were quite a number of them wearing devil masks, looking incomparably malevolent. Qin Wentian even guessed that Wuxia might be among them. It's really quiet now. A bunch of self-righteous fellows. Jun Mingchen coldly spoke. Earlier, He was being pointed at by so many people. He had been suppressing his anger with nowhere to vent it. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Wentian wasn't in a hurry, he would have long rushed up to the towering platform. These people all thought that their immortal Qianbian gate couldn't be the same as them, doubting them. Now it's time for them to shut up. Their astral souls are passable, and their immortal foundation isn't bad. However, this merely means that their foundation is more stable. It doesn't represent everything. An expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state calmly spoke, his tone as arrogant as ever. This caused Jun Mingchen to snort coldly. When you are strong, you can look down on others. But when you are weak, you still have excuses. Admirable. Chapter 11:20. The people from the 9 Emperors' immortal state snorted coldly, but didn't reply. These thousands of people were all demon-level geniuses at the peak of immortal foundation. None of them were mediocre. Who among them wasn't proud and arrogant? It was just that there were some who expressed their pride in their words, but there were even more geniuses who chose to remain silent. Among them, there were no lack of outstanding geniuses who could shake an entire region. They merely watched calmly as everything happened. Finally, the examination of the thousands of experts ended. The shadow on the towering platform glanced at them and spoke. You guys can be considered to have temporarily passed the examination. Step into the passageway leading to the Sacred Academy first. As the sound of his voice faded, he waved the scepter in his hand. A moment later, a strange runic light enveloped these experts, causing the hearts of countless to tremble. Although these people were all very outstanding, they wouldn't have dared to step out. But even so, they didn't expect that all of them would pass the examination. Seems like the shadow on the towering platform had his own plans. He wanted those who were more confident to step out first, so that he wouldn't have a hard time selecting them later on. With a wave of his hand, a space appeared before them. He then spoke. Those who wish to enter the Sacred Academy, please step into this space and release your astral souls, immortal foundations and bloodlines. Those who are selected by me will enter the Sacred Academy. For those who are not selected, please step back and give up your positions. We can begin now. As the sound of his voice faded, numerous figures flashed out, appearing before them. For a period of time, many experts all released their astral souls, immortal foundations and bloodlines, simply dazzling the eyes of those who saw it. When Qin Wentian saw this scene, he exchanged mutual glances with the people around him. Before this, he had already selected them meticulously. But now that there were so many of them, he only needed a single glance to select them. Most probably, this could only be considered a rough selection. In fact, there might even be some who missed out. After all, there were simply too many people. However, he had allowed them to take the initiative to step out earlier, because he wanted to give those with outstanding talent a chance. Let's go in first, they naturally know what to do. Qin Wentian, Qing Namhuang Yunxi and the others stood together. They each took a glance at the people from the immortal Qianbian Gate, the Evergreen Kingdom, and the Namhuang clan, and then walked toward the entrance of the Sacred Academy. As for the others, it was up to them. One figure after another walked out, heading towards the Sacred Academy. Their bodies were all shrouded in a mysterious light, as they stepped through the entrance of the Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian watched as the figures entered. At this moment, he had a strange feeling. It was as though this step was like stepping through a gate to the void. He took a step forward, and in an instant, the scenery around him changed. Qin Wentian looked at everything before him, and his heart was in turmoil. It's rumored that this hidden space of the Tiandao Sacred Academy is a Sumeru world. Seems like it's true, Jun Mingchen said. A gust of wind blew past, blowing on their bodies, causing their clothes to flutter. At this moment, thousands of figures appeared on the shore. In front of them was a vast and boundless sea. There seemed to be a mysterious aura in this sea, as though it contained immortal might. There was no end to this sea, as though it was boundless. At this moment, no one knew where the sea led to. Splashing sounds rang out. On the surface of the sea in front of them, starlight flashed. A shadow condensed, standing in the air above the sea, staring at the crowd. This sea is known as the Immortal Sea, and also known as the Tao Sea. All of you came to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to seek immortality, and seek the Tao. You have to cross the immortal sea. If you cannot cross it, you will forever be floating in the immortal sea. That figure slowly spoke. The immortal sea is boundless. If you wish to cross it, you will have to display your innate techniques. Everyone, please wait for the people behind you. We will cross the immortal sea together. Everyone nodded as they stared ahead. The words of the other party were filled with profoundness that was hard to comprehend. They had no idea what he meant. Since the immortal sea was boundless, how could they cross it? Behind them, more and more experts appeared. These were all Immortal Foundation experts who entered the immortal sea later on. As time flowed by, the number of people gradually increased. In fact, there were already over 20,000 people. There are still more people entering? Everyone had bewildered looks on their faces as they stared at the immortal sea. After that, they suddenly realized something. Seems like when that immortal said that the Tiandao Sacred Academy would accept 20,000 disciples, there were actually more than 20,000 people who entered. If they wanted to enter the Sacred Academy, they still had to cross the immortal sea. At this moment, they still couldn't be considered to have entered the Sacred Academy. This immortal sea was also a test. The number of people who entered gradually decreased. The Immortal Foundation experts stood by the shore with solemn expressions as they stared into the distance. They weren't ordinary geniuses and had strong willpower. Hence, they weren't impatient. Time flowed by. The number of people increased, but the number of people who entered also gradually decreased. Until a very long time, no one stepped into the immortal sea. On the surface of the immortal sea, that immortal shadow repeated what he said earlier. After that, he added, the immortal sea is boundless. Everyone has to display their innate techniques when crossing the immortal sea. Don't travel together. The paths of crossing the immortal sea are different. You will all be sent to different locations of the Sacred Academy. The first 20,000 who cross the immortal sea can enter the Sacred Academy. After that, the others will be sent out. If there aren't 20,000 people within 100 years, those who didn't succeed will be sent out as well. That immortal shadow continued. After that, he pinched his fingers as a lone boat appeared on the surface of the immortal sea. With a step, he landed on the boat and vanished from sight. Traversing the immortal sea, seeking the Tao. Everyone stared at the immortal sea ahead. The immortal sea was also known as the Tao Sea. How would one enter the other shore? Immortal energy gushed forth from the experts as they transformed into small boats. After that, they stepped onto the boats and flew forward. Beside Qin Wentian, Qing'er turned her gaze over, staring at Qin Wentian. Seeking the Tao in the immortal sea, each county has their own innate techniques and everyone's circumstances are different. From what that immortal shadow said, it seems that because of the different paths of crossing the immortal sea, we will be sent to different locations of the Sacred Academy. Maybe, the locations might be the most suitable for one's self. Qing'er, we might be separated during the journey. If that's the case, let's meet again in the Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian stared at Qing'er as he spoke in a gentle voice. MHM. Qing'er nodded. Heading to the Sacred Academy was to raise her strength. For matters of the heart, she would temporarily put them aside. Before this, the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom was pressuring the Evergreen Kingdom. This matter caused them to be extremely tempted. Now that the legendary Tiandao Sacred Academy had appeared, they naturally had to seize this opportunity. However, we might be able to stay together forever. Qin Wentian smiled. After that, immortal light radiated from him as a small boat appeared before them. He stepped onto the boat and stared at the experts before him as he spoke. Let's move out. Everyone respectively used their immortal energy to form small boats as they stepped onto the boat, heading towards the immortal sea. At this moment, on the immortal sea, tens of thousands of boats set off, heading towards the boundlessly vast immortal sea. Several days later, everyone entered the boundlessly vast immortal sea. To their shock, they discovered that this immortal sea had its own set of laws. A law energy akin to the great Tao enveloped each and every one of them. It was incomparably profound and difficult to comprehend. They only felt that this immortal sea was extremely troublesome. Another few months passed. Everyone had long entered the depths of the immortal sea. The vast army had also split up. Only those who were familiar with each other stayed together. All of them were searching for their own paths, heading towards the other shore of the Immortal Sea. The Immortal Sea is boundless, there's no end to it. How do we cross it? Namfeng Yunxi mumbled in a low voice. She steered the boat and sped through the air. Beside her, Qin Wentian and the others were all there. However, they felt as though they had sunk into a boundless immortal sea. They couldn't see the other shore at all. This immortal sea truly had no end. It wasn't just empty words. Our speed is already very fast, but we still can't see the end. I'm afraid we won't be able to reach the other shore if we continue like this. This immortal sea is extremely profound. We have to carefully comprehend the words of that person earlier. Jun Mingchen also sensed this. Not only him, everyone else felt this as well. However, the simplest method was to continue forward, all the way to the other shore. They had to give it a try no matter what. But after trying, they discovered that this path wasn't easy to traverse. There should really be no end to the immortal sea. Maybe, we need to comprehend it ourselves before we can exit. Namfeng Xinga stood not far away from Namhuang Yunxi. Her personality was humble, and was even more intelligent compared to the other holy maidens of Namhuang Yunxi. Namhuang Yunxi treated her like a sister, and trusted her very much. I think so too. Qin Wentian nodded, agreeing with Namfeng Xinga's words. He then continued, maybe we should properly comprehend the laws of this immortal sea. But, we have no clue at all. How should we comprehend it? Jun Mingchen scratched his head. How troublesome. I wonder who came up with this rotten idea. Why don't we just fight to our heart's content? Mingchen, you have to temper your personality. I feel that this immortal sea is extremely suitable for you. You have to guard against arrogance and rashness. Don't fail miserably. If you are ranked below 20,000, you wouldn't even have the qualifications to enter the Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian reminded. Those who can enter the immortal sea are all extraordinary characters. Even if their talent isn't comparable to you guys, they wouldn't be mediocre. They are the most outstanding geniuses in the immortal realms. You have to be careful. Namfeng Xinga spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian saw Qing'er in contemplation. He couldn't help but to ask, Qing'er, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking that ever since we entered the immortal sea, we have always been together, taking care of each other and advancing together. We didn't have any time to calm our hearts. Qing'er's melodious voice rang out. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He shook his head and smiled. Qing'er is right. Maybe, to comprehend the Tao in the immortal sea, one must have no distractions in their heart. Maybe, it's really time for us to separate. What if we are all wrong? What if the true shore of the immortal sea is to continue moving forward? Jun Mingchen asked. Whatever you think in your heart, just do it. If you fail, you have to start all over again. Qin Wentian spoke to Jun Mingchen, his words causing everyone to be in contemplation. Qin Wentian's words weren't without logic. Let us meet again in the Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian smiled. The boat he was on soared into the distance. His eyes turned to Qing'er only to see Qing, nodding her head lightly to him before flying in another direction as well. As expected of lovers. Jun Mingchen mumbled. Bao Bao is leaving as well. Even little rascal was on his own boat. He controlled the boat and flew towards a certain direction. His snow-white body leaped to the front of the boat and stretched out his head, appearing extremely adorable. He allowed the boat to float freely, drifting with the wind. After that, Namhuang Yunxi, Namfeng Xinga and the others also departed. Sis Qingxian, Hua Taishu, you guys. Before the sound of Jun Mingchen's voice faded, he already saw Zi Qingxian and Hua Taishu also departing alone. Hua Taishu's white robes fluttered in the wind. Zi Qingxian didn't even turn her head back, leaving him alone. He involuntarily inclined his head and stared at the sky. After that, a moment later, he directly collapsed onto the boat as he let out a long sigh. Seems like he would have to spend a lonely time in the immortal sea. This damnable Sacred Academy, where was it exactly? Chapter 1121. Half a year later, a lone boat floated on the immortal sea. Qin Wentian laid on the boat, staring at the blue sky and white clouds with a dazed look in his eyes. There was no way to exit this immortal sea. In fact, it was extremely rare for him to encounter other lone boats. From this, one could very well imagine how vast this immortal sea was. Could it be that I really have to cultivate in the immortal sea? Qin Wentian mused silently. Since he couldn't reach the other shore, what if he ignored everything else and continued to cultivate? Would he be able to enter the sacred academy? Before this, the shadow who was floating above the immortal sea once said that there were different methods to cross the sea. But the different locations of the sacred academy were different. Evidently, there was more than one method to reach the sacred academy. But even so, he couldn't find a single method. This involuntarily caused Qin Wentian to doubt himself. Could it be that his comprehension abilities were insufficient, and he had no way to find a method to cross the sea and enter the sacred academy? At this moment, Qin Wentian suddenly sensed something. He sensed a strange aura, and stood up from the boat. After that, he saw a lone boat floating over from afar. A young man with long black hair could be seen on the boat. His demon-like face exuded a faint tyrannical aura. The eyes of this man were extremely deep, and there seemed to be a mysterious suction force within them, able to draw the gazes of those who stared at him into it. "Sir, you are so carefree." That person walked over from afar with his hands clasped behind his back. His cultivation base was at the 4th level of Immortal Foundation, and exuded an unfathomable aura as he spoke to Qin Wentian. "If I can't cross the sea, I can only waste my time. Sir, do you know how to cross the immortal sea?" Qin Wentian calmly asked. "I have no idea, but I'm currently on a path, searching for a method to cross the Dao Sea and enter the other shore. It's just that this path isn't easy and I still have to seek your help." That person continued moving forward. The lone boat gradually got closer to Qin Wentian. "Oh, how can I help?" Qin Wentian smiled. "My path of crossing the sea to seek immortality requires killing to pave the way. As such, I need your distinguished self's life to pave the way for me. Perhaps I might be able to cross the immortal sea." That person continued, his voice calm without the slightest fluctuation. "This path is too evil. I don't even know if I can cross the immortal sea. Even if I could, I wouldn't be willing." Qin Wentian responded calmly. There was no anger in their conversation, as if life and death were just a matter of words. Since Qin Wentian joined the Sacred Academy, he was naturally prepared in his heart. These geniuses from the various immortal realms were all considered heaven's chosen in their respective areas. Their thirst for strength was naturally extremely intense. Hence, Qin Wentian wasn't too surprised when he saw this person taking the lives of others to pave the way for himself to cross the immortal sea. "Since you're unwilling, then I'll have to come and get it myself." That person spoke again. "Before this, I saw that your immortal foundation is perfect and your astral souls are unparalleled. You should be cultivating a secret art. I can only cripple your immortal foundation first, and obtain the secret art before taking your life." As he spoke, he released his immortal foundation. In an instant, the phantom of a terrifying devil appeared behind him, its entire body shimmering with a terrifying blood-colored light. The eyes of this devil were as demonic as blood. His eyes also turned demonic to the extreme. At this instant, the space around him changed as astral light flashed. In the air, numerous devils appeared. Someone from the myriad devil islands. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. When this person released his immortal foundation, it was actually a devil foundation. Devil Qi towered up into the sky as his body expanded explosively, transforming into a baleful god. The lone boat Qin Wentian was on swayed in the wind and rain, as though it was extremely fragile, as though it would be destroyed with a single strike, turning into dust on the immortal sea. Sacrificing one's body to seek the Tao. Just a single thought can cause one to give up their life in the immortal sea, dying with their Tao vanishing. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. His body abruptly turned incomparably resplendent, like the radiance of the sun, incomparably resplendent. His entire body radiated a divine glow as runic light illuminated the sky. God's hand was activated, giving him an indestructible divine body. Even his fleshly body contained boundless might. The devilish might from the void gushed over, transforming into blood-red lightning that blasted into the resplendent body of Qin Wentian. However, they were all directly destroyed, unable to injure him in the slightest. This immortal sea churned with huge waves. The lone boat beneath Qin Wentian's feet moved along with the waves, undulating up and down. His opponent let out a thunderous roar as the waves towered up into the sky. A terrifying devil king wielding a blood-colored devil spear rushed over, wanting to destroy everything. No one could block it. Qin Wentian's perfect immortal foundation manifested. This immortal foundation actually transformed into different diagrams, within which the attribute energy from his demonic astral soul was unleashed to the extreme. In an instant, the shadow of a divine turtle manifested, enveloping his entire body. The indestructible divine turtle transformed into a fearsome defense, and when the Devil King rushed over, a thunderous boom rang out, as though it could shatter his immortal foundation. Bang! The shadow of the divine turtle shattered. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's palm blasted out. That perfect saint-grade immortal foundation of his transformed into a greater demon Zhenhou, exuding a fearsome suppression and destruction attribute energy. Qin Wentian's palm imprint was like the hand of a divinity. When he attacked, numerous Zhenhou could be seen slaughtering everything. The devil might of his opponent towered up into the sky as they frenziedly clashed against each other. In an instant, the waves on the sea transformed into a whirlpool. Yet another heaven-shaking palm imprint blasted out. This strike contained the destructive might of an ancient halberd. With a muffled sound, the body of his opponent was pierced through. His opponent's eyes gleamed with a terrifying light as he formed a mystical incantation seal, transforming into a blood-colored bolt of lightning that instantly fled. In the depths of the immortal sea, a beam of blood-colored light vanished, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The waves on the sea were still as violent as ever. Qin Wentian stood on the floating boat and stared at the fleeing silhouette. Traces of blood could be seen on the surface of the waves, but the blood soon dissipated and the immortal sea regained its calm, as though nothing had happened at all. Qin Wentian stared at the immortal sea as he mused. This person killed countless lives in order to find a way to cross the sea. Although Qin Wentian despised such a method, he was still thinking about what method he should use to cross the immortal sea. Before I find an answer, let's continue cultivating on the immortal sea. Qin Wentian smiled bitterly. Before this, he thought that if he chose to cultivate on the immortal sea, he might miss out on the chance to enter the Sacred Academy. But now he discovered that he was too stubborn. The reason why he entered the Sacred Academy was originally for the sake of cultivation. Now that there was no way to cross the immortal sea, why should he seek trouble for himself? Why not just let nature take its course? As he thought of this, he sat down cross-legged on the boat and closed his eyes in cultivation, allowing the boat to drift freely on the immortal sea, moving with the wind. He had no distractions in his heart. In the blink of an eye, another year passed. Qin Wentian had already been drifting on the immortal sea for close to 2 years. He cultivated on the boat, comprehending immortal law energy, causing the might of his immortal foundation to grow stronger and stronger. He could faintly sense that the laws of this immortal sea seemed to be able to harmonize with the energy he cultivated. It was as though the laws of this immortal sea could encompass everything in the world, and he could sense any immortal law energy from it. Today, Qin Wentian opened his eyes. He stood on the boat and stared into the horizons. During this 1 year, he had no idea if there was anyone passing by him. There's someone over there. Qin Wentian saw a golden light flashing in the distance, boundlessly resplendent, radiating out in all directions. Qin Wentian controlled the small boat and moved forward, sailing through the waves and came to a place not far away from the golden light as he stared in that direction. It was a monk who cultivated in the Buddhist path. He was a disciple of a peak Buddhist power in the immortal realms. His body was lying on the sea and the boundless golden light radiating from him was none other than his body. As boundless golden light radiated from him, Qin Wentian discovered that the immortal foundation energy in his body was gradually dissipating. His physical body was also growing weaker and weaker. However, the golden light radiating from him was incomparably resplendent, merging into the immortal sea and rising up into the air. Gradually, Qin Wentian discovered that a small boat could be seen floating on the surface of the sea. That was the body of the monk, but it had already lost all signs of life. Sacrificing one's body to seek the Tao, using one's body as a boat. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. It was rumored that there were people from the Buddhist sect who believed that the path to immortality was too slow and too difficult. Life was like the sea of bitterness, filled with suffering and suffering. Life was the sea of bitterness. The body was the boat, and the soul was the one controlling the boat, leading to the other shore. This monk was cultivating in the immortal sea. He actually wanted to use this to seek the Tao and reach the other shore? Just as Qin Wentian was observing, at this moment, a golden light suddenly filled the sky. On the small boat, a shadow appeared. This was none other than the body of the monk, illusory and ethereal yet radiating boundless golden light. The monk's body floated up from the immortal sea and merged with the shadow. Ahead, an ethereal shadow appeared. It was actually a sacred academy. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He only saw the monk taking a step forward and vanishing from the immortal sea. After that, the shadow of the sacred academy gradually faded away, vanishing from sight once more. Qin Wentian stared at the calm sea ahead, as well as the monk who disappeared. His eyes were filled with a sense of unease. Just like what he had guessed, the other shore of the immortal sea wasn't the other shore. It wasn't something that could be reached just by traversing through space. One had to carve out their own path to immortality. The path of others belonged to others. Only by carving out one's own path would one be able to leave the immortal sea and enter the sacred academy. Earlier, that monk used his body as a boat, using his soul to traverse the suffering and finally reach the other shore, stepping into the sacred academy. This was his path. To be able to comprehend this path within 2 years, this monk must be an extraordinary character. Naturally, there might also be a possibility that this was in line with the path he cultivated in. He treated the immortal sea as the sea of bitterness. Qin Wentian recalled the words of that monk before he entered the immortal sea. The immortal sea was boundless, and if one wished to cross it, they had to display their own innate techniques. If there weren't 20,000 people who could cross the immortal sea within 100 years and enter the sacred academy, those who failed would all be sent out of the immortal sea. Before this, Qin Wentian didn't think much of it. But now, he felt that if the people who entered the immortal sea this time around weren't outstanding enough, there might not even be 20,000 people who could cross the immortal sea within 100 years. The monk used his body as a boat to traverse the immortal sea. But where is my path? Qin Wentian silently asked himself as he continued to drift on the sea. Not only him. Those heaven-chosen from the immortal realms who entered the immortal sea were all searching for their own paths. There was also Qing, Nam Huangyunxi, Hua Taishu, Jun Mingchen, and the others. All of them were floating on their boats, searching for a path to cross the immortal sea. Chapter 11:22. The immortal sea was boundless. Today, it has already been 3 years since Qin Wentian and the others entered the immortal sea. Qin Wentian quietly lay on the boat. His heart was filled with no distractions, as though he had forgotten where he was. This immortal sea was like the path of cultivation. There was no end to it. There would always be stronger cultivation bases waiting for him. The immortal sea was also like the body of a human. Nobody knew the limits of the body. It was able to absorb immortal energy unceasingly, growing stronger and stronger. And for those who cultivated in the immortal sea, it was like the immortal foundation of stellar martial cultivators. It was unknown when they would be able to absorb enough immortal law energy and reach the other shore. Qin Wentian laid there for a very long time. He seemed to have nothing to do. He would occasionally open his eyes and stare at the blue sky as a smile appeared on his face. Such a carefree and desireless life was truly comfortable and incomparably relaxed. And at this moment, a strange feeling suddenly appeared. Before him, a mysterious sacred academy appeared in the immortal sea. At this moment, Qin Wentian had an intense feeling that as long as he willed it, he would be able to enter the sacred academy. The him now seemed to have already reached the other shore. This sacred academy seems to be somewhat different from the ones before. Qin Wentian thought back to the time when he saw the monk crossing the sea of bitterness in the sacred academy. The sacred academy before him seemed even more peaceful and tranquil, as though it was extremely ordinary. If one has no desires, there would be no path of cultivation. If one doesn't cultivate, how would one reach the other shore? This sacred academy, what sort of cultivation Tao would it have? Qin Wentian smiled and shook his head. After that he closed his eyes and continued to lie there. Gradually that shadow grew darker and darker before it finally vanished from Qin Wentian's sight. Qin Wentian actually gave up on the chance to reach the other shore, to enter the sacred academy. The reason why he did this was to verify something in his heart. Now Qin Wentian had verified it. The sacred academy had indeed appeared in front of him. It was extremely difficult to achieve a state of complete desirelessness. Qin Wentian wholeheartedly pursued the path of cultivation. How could he give up? It could be said that it would be extremely difficult for anyone in the immortal sea to achieve such a state. However, Qin Wentian managed to break through his own heart and did it. Why did you give up? A voice appeared in Qin Wentian's mind, like the voice of the heavenly path. Qin Wentian's heart trembled slightly, but he soon calmed down. Looking at the vast immortal sea, he slowly spoke. I want to enter the sacred academy through cultivation, and not by doing nothing to enter the sacred academy. No one responded. The voice seemed to come from nothingness and returned to nothingness as if it had never existed. Qin Wentian was still in the immortal sea. He laid there with a smile on his face. The him right now was filled with vigor, and the dejected state he was in earlier was completely swept away. This was because he knew what he should do. Closing his eyes, Qin Wentian's entire body shone with immortal light as the energy of law energy started to circulate on his body. His body seemed to have been stimulated as a dazzling immortal light radiated from him. Bang! The small boat shattered and Qin Wentian's body directly fell onto the surface of the immortal sea. He didn't even try to control his body and simply let nature take its course. However, Qin Wentian's body didn't sink into the sea and was still floating there. Resplendent immortal law energy directly enveloped Qin Wentian's body. Qin Wentian's body was like a cocoon as it flowed along with the immortal sea. However, Qin Wentian didn't seem to care about that. The him right now only cared about his own cultivation. Time flowed by. Qin Wentian had a strange feeling that as long as he willed it, the sacred academy would appear before him. However, it was as though he didn't know anything about it. He continued floating along with the immortal sea as the law energy grew stronger bit by bit. His body was tempered unceasingly as his immortal foundation grew stronger. Today, Qin Wentian's entire body radiated boundless light. His immortal foundation was still perfect and flawless, but it grew even more resplendent and powerful. From the immortal sea, boundless energy gushed frenziedly into Qin Wentian's body, merging into his immortal foundation. The energy of the immortal sea seemed to contain everything, and could be used by Qin Wentian in his cultivation. At this moment, with Qin Wentian as the center, his entire person was enveloped by boundless light. The immortal sea churned madly as boundless immortal energy flowed into his body, into his immortal foundation, becoming nourishment for him to use. In the immortal foundation realm, the further one advanced, the more difficult it would be. The amount of energy required to break through to the next level was the stacking of all the previous levels. Hence, the amount of time required to break through to the next level would also increase exponentially. Hence, the path of immortal foundation was extremely difficult. If one had an immortal foundation within 100 years, they might need 200 years to reach the second level, 400 years to reach the third level, 800 years to reach the fourth level, and 1,600 years to reach the fifth level. Until the end, over 20,000 years before one could reach the ninth level of immortal foundation. Only those transcendent characters who established their immortal foundation when they first established their immortal foundation would be able to walk an extraordinary path. When the immortal sea transformed into an immortal tempest for Qin Wentian to use, it was like he was transforming from a cocoon into a butterfly. Time continued as usual. Within the immortal sea, time seemed insignificant. Today, in a certain location on the immortal sea, a boundless beam of immortal light shot out. Over there, a figure could be seen floating up from the immortal sea. This figure was none other than Qin Wentian. Before him, the shadow of the Sacred Academy appeared, seemingly beckoning Qin Wentian to enter. As long as he was willing, he would be able to enter the Sacred Academy. However, Qin Wentian only smiled when he saw the Sacred Academy. He didn't do anything until the Sacred Academy vanished completely. Why don't you enter? Another voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. Standing on the boundlessly vast immortal sea, Qin Wentian seemed extremely tiny and insignificant. It was like a single wave would be able to engulf him. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian stood straight with a smile on his face as he calmly stared ahead. I want to ask a question. Qin Wentian spoke, as though he was speaking to the void. After a moment of silence, there was no reply. But after that, another voice rang out. What question? Upon hearing this reply, the smile on Qin Wentian's face grew even wider. At this moment, he was even more certain of his thoughts. If there's a Tao in the immortal sea, would this immortal sea still be a sea? Qin Wentian asked. Another period of silence. All of a sudden, a terrifying storm manifested on the immortal sea. Loud rumbling sounds rang out as a gigantic wave swept towards Qin Wentian. This gigantic wave condensed into a demonic form, resembling a terrifying gigantic beast. With a loud roar, it lunged towards Qin Wentian, wanting to devour him. That terrifying gigantic beast seemed as though it could devour everything, easily engulfing Qin Wentian within. But at this moment, Qin Wentian simply stood there, not moving at all. At the moment of imminent peril, the shadow of the gigantic beast stopped. This gigantic beast was like a malevolent-looking fish. Its gigantic body was right in front of Qin Wentian as it stared coldly at Qin Wentian. If there's a Tao in the immortal sea, why isn't it a sea? It's formed from the Tao. Where are the laws of the world? Where would there be a sea? Qin Wentian stared at the gigantic beast before him. His expression was as calm as ever, as though he had already seen through everything. He tried many different methods to cross the immortal sea, and all of them succeeded. Many speculations appeared in his heart. Finally, Qin Wentian guessed that this immortal sea was actually formed from the Tao, formed from the laws of the world. The immortal sea wasn't a sea. It was formed from the laws of the world. You are very intelligent. That greater demon spoke, as though he acknowledged Qin Wentian's words. Since Qin Wentian has already comprehended it, he naturally wouldn't deny it. It's just that you used two methods and wasted a lot of time. Why didn't you enter the Sacred Academy on your first attempt? That greater demon continued. Since entering the Sacred Academy is your purpose, why are you wasting time? Such powerful laws can be used for cultivation. Why would I miss it? After entering the Sacred Academy, I might not have such an opportunity again. I used a short 4 years to step into the third level of Immortal Foundation. Why would I waste time? Qin Wentian smiled as he replied. Your comprehension abilities are very strong. That greater demon spoke again. Since this is the case, why didn't you enter the Sacred Academy when it appeared again? Do you intend to continue using the immortal sea to cultivate? Qin Wentian shook his head. This time around, he was able to break through to the third level of Immortal Foundation. Although he borrowed the power of the immortal sea to cultivate, it was also related to his previous cultivation. Many years ago, he had already broken through to the second level of Immortal Foundation, and was stuck at this level for quite some time. Right now, he had just broken through to the third level. It was impossible for him to forcefully raise his cultivation base to the fourth level of Immortal Foundation. I'm already in the Sacred Academy. Where else do I need to go? Qin Wentian spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the eyes of the greater demon narrowed as he stared at Qin Wentian. Swish! A sound rang out. The greater demon transformed back into the immortal sea and vanished from sight. The immortal sea turned calm once more. Qin Wentian stood on the surface of the immortal sea. Gradually, he discovered that the scene before him was changing. The boundlessly vast immortal sea was gradually transforming into land. He lowered his head. It was no longer the sea beneath his feet, it was the ground instead. In just an instant, everything vanished. Qin Wentian stood on the ground. It was like the immortal sea had never existed before. The immortal sea was boundless because there was no immortal sea in the first place. Who? Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath as a smile flickered in his eyes. In truth, he wasn't as confident as he appeared to be. This in itself was a bold conjecture. Since Qin Wentian felt that the immortal sea had a Tao and was formed from the laws of the immortal sea, there was a possibility that it was something that didn't exist. Now his conjecture was verified. His bold conjecture seemed to be correct. On the ground, only he stood there. There was no one else. Up ahead, the surroundings were incomparably quiet, like a desolate land. There were no signs of human habitation here. It was like an extremely ancient secret realm. Where is this? Qin Wentian frowned. The Sacred Academy? Why wasn't there a single person here? This place seemed like an extremely ancient castle with many secrets hidden within. Weren't you very confident earlier? That voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind once more. He glanced at his surroundings as he cursed in his heart. Could this person be intentionally messing with him? However, since he was already standing on the ground, Qin Wentian still believed that his conjecture was correct. That person once said that everyone had their own innate techniques on the path of crossing the immortal sea. Since their paths were different, they would be sent to different places. His path of crossing the immortal sea was to seek the truth, to see through the void. The immortal sea wasn't a sea, hence he might have chosen a path alone. Chapter 11:23. Qin Wentian glanced at his surroundings. His silhouette flickered, wanting to see what exactly was in this desolate sacred academy. This space was very vast and silent. There was an ancient castle within. Qin Wentian stepped into it. Numerous gigantic stones seemed to be cast into natural stone pillars, standing erect within the ancient castle. They were over 100 zhang tall, causing Qin Wentian to feel an ancient yet glorious aura. Although this place was desolate, it gave off a sense of mysteriousness. Upon entering, the desolate ancient castle seemed to have a flight of stairs that led upwards, all the way to the sky. Each and every ancient stone pillar seemed to be flaunting its majesty. Qin Wentian actually felt a sense of piety in this ancient castle. This feeling was extremely mystical, involuntarily arising in his heart. Stepping into the ancient castle, he entered a great hall in the center. The walls of the hall were all made up of stone, ancient and ancient, resembling a dilapidated monastery. Step by step, Qin Wentian walked forward. Over there, a gigantic ancient character was inscribed, Truth. That word was very large, and seemed to contain a mystical aura. Qin Wentian could faintly sense a ray of light landing on his body, but when he took a closer look, there was nothing at all. That mystical feeling instantly vanished, and when he looked at the word again, it was still as ordinary as ever. Qin Wentian looked left and right. There was nothing at all. In fact, there were even holes in the ancient castle that allowed light to seep in. It was extremely bright, and gave him a feeling of enlightenment. However, he wasn't able to grasp that feeling. Truth. Why is there only a single word? Qin Wentian mumbled. In this ancient castle, there was nothing but this word. His silhouette flashed and he walked out of the ancient castle, heading towards another direction. However, he discovered that this space was truly desolate and extremely vast. Even after riding on his immortal weapon for several days, he still couldn't get out. He could only occasionally see a few trees. Even in this desolate land, there were still towering ancient trees that wouldn't wither. Could it be that I was tricked? Qin Wentian cursed in his heart. Why did he feel like he had walked out of the immortal sea and arrived on land? This land was no different from the immortal sea. Could it be that he had to repeat what he had done in the immortal ocean? If that was the case, what was the point of doing all of this? No, something must be wrong. I've entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy, and I've seen through all falsehood, and I've seen through the rules. That's why I'm here. The Tiandao Sacred Academy won't let me fall into the same situation again. Qin Wentian silently mused. The place where the Chongqing the Great wanted to send him to was a place that could shake the hearts of the major powers of the immortal realms. A place where even immortal kings would rush in frenziedly. The Tiandao Sacred Academy that would start a new era most probably wouldn't be so boring. Since he was here, then there must be a reason for him to be here. Truth, seeking the truth. Could it be because I've unraveled the mystery of the immortal sea and was sent here to seek the truth? Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. He inclined his head and stared into the void as he asked, "Is this your intention?" There was no reply from the void. Qin Wentian cursed in his heart. Was the fellow who spoke to him earlier truly here? After a moment, Qin Wentian gave up. He didn't intend to ask the other party any further. He thought back to the strange feeling he had back in the ancient castle. He could faintly sense the power of the Buddha sect. The power of the Buddha sect had always been mysterious and powerful, hard to fathom. It would often use Zen mysteries for people to comprehend. Could it be that the Zen mysteries of the Buddha sect were hidden here? Qin Wentian thought back to the method he used to cross the immortal sea. It was because he had seen through the mysteries of the immortal sea. Transformed from the Tao, where are the laws? The immortal sea isn't a sea. The immortal sea is boundless. There's no such thing as an immortal sea. I'm already in the sacred academy. Where else do I need to go? The words he spoke earlier, as well as the mysteries of the immortal sea. He felt a faint sense of Zen mysteries. Could this be the reason why he came here? The more Qin Wentian thought about it, the more he felt the possibility was very high. In the end, he smiled bitterly. Seems like he had to unravel the truth of the word truth before he could see the truth. Let's go. Qin Wentian controlled his immortal-ranked weapon and moved like a bolt of lightning, speeding through the desolate space, returning to the location where the ancient castle was located. This time around, he slowly entered the ancient castle, trying to sense every strand of aura here, trying to comprehend this feeling. Finally, he came to the central hall of the ancient castle, and once again stood before the word truth. Truth. Just what kind of secret is hidden in the word truth? Qin Wentian silently mused. He closed his eyes and released his immortal sense, wanting to search for that mysterious feeling. Occasionally, Qin Wentian would faintly sense the intent of the word. However, it was extremely illusory and difficult for him to grasp it. Right now, Qin Wentian has already cultivated for many years. He knew that cultivation wasn't something that could be accomplished in a day. As his cultivation base rose, his state of heart grew more and more extraordinary. He was able to control his temper and cultivate the path he felt was right. Even if he discovered that he was wrong, he would still be able to start all over again. Qin Wentian sat there in the ancient castle, staring at the word truth every day. After a year, his cultivation base didn't improve at all, but he was still immersed in it. If it was before, Qin Wentian most probably wouldn't be able to do this. Today, Qin Wentian opened his eyes. After meditating for a year, he stared at the word truth. In the ancient records, it said that supreme experts of the Buddhist sect can meditate for thousands, or even tens of thousands of years, comprehending the mysteries of Zen. Today, I've meditated for an entire year, comprehending this word. Although I'm not able to comprehend it completely, I've managed to gain some insights. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. His state of heart was calm. There was no trace of impatience at all. Seeking truth, being able to see through all illusions and fabrications. Should I reflect on myself and see through myself? Qin Wentian murmured. He actually closed his eyes once more, wanting to see through himself. Many thoughts flashed through Qin Wentian's mind. Why was he so resolute in his cultivation? It was because those who were mediocre wouldn't be able to control their own fate. In fact, they wouldn't even be able to protect the people around them. Back then in the Sky Harmony City, the Qin residents had experienced many trials and tribulations. In the end, they depended on their strength to resolve everything. Between him and Mo Qingcheng, they were separated by life and death. Similarly, only with sufficient strength could they be together. In the immortal realms, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor relied on his strength to forcefully start a war between immortal kings in a particle world. How many innocent people died? The Tenlon Heaven Kingdom forced their way into the Evergreen Kingdom, wanting their princess to marry them. Ever since he was born, he didn't know where his parents were. He didn't know if they were dead or alive. He only knew that he had a blood feud. All of these were the motivation for his cultivation. In this world, the weak were lowly. Their lives were like weeds. There was no need to doubt his heart to grow stronger. No one would be able to shake it. This was the truth. He thought of his family, his friends, and his own personality. He also thought of his bloodline, his cultivation abilities, his astral souls, and his immortal foundation. Today, he started from the different types of energy he was proficient in, carefully comprehending himself and the path of cultivation he had taken. In this desolate space, no one seemed to care about the flow of time. 3 years have passed since Qin Wentian entered this place from the immortal sea. However, Qin Wentian didn't seem to feel anything. Today he sat cross-legged under an ancient tree in the desolate space. His entire body radiated resplendent runic light as he fused his bloodline as well as his fiend god body refinement technique. His physique was like that of a fiend god, indestructible and indestructible. Right now, Qin Wentian's physique was formed after he barged into the ancient emperor realm in the city of ancient emperors. After that, he stepped into the immortal foundation realm and established a perfect physique. After that, he entered the ancient mountain in the God Hand Mountain manner and comprehended God's hand. In front of that golden body, his physique underwent a qualitative transformation again and again. Up until now, this physique was already extremely perfect. This was especially so when he activated God's hand. It was like a divine body that was formed from the fusion of all sorts of energy from Qin Wentian. In fact, Qin Wentian was confident that his physique wasn't any weaker compared to his perfect saint-grade immortal foundation. He was unparalleled in the immortal realms. Another day, Qin Wentian released his immortal foundation in a certain desolate space. His immortal foundation was perfect, without any flaws. He could freely transform it and infuse it with astral souls, allowing him to unleash tyrannical might. He could transform his perfect immortal foundation into a picture of a great rock, allowing him to be possessed by a great rock, allowing him to unleash the attacks of the great rock in the treasured cauldron. Day after day, although Qin Wentian's cultivation base didn't increase, his strength was growing stronger bit by bit. His self-reflection also caused him to grow stronger, allowing his various abilities to be perfected. Qin Wentian would often return to the ancient palace in the center of the ancient castle, and sit there alone, facing the word truth. He would close his eyes and cultivate diligently, comprehending a little bit of it every day. Occasionally, Qin Wentian would also miss Qing'er and Qingcheng, and wonder if his friends were still doing well. Qin Wentian didn't know when he would be able to see them again. But to him now, he could only do his best to search for them, walking on this path of seeking truth. In this desolate place, one didn't know the meaning of spring and autumn. Even Qin Wentian gradually forgot the passage of time. Today the word truth, engraved there faintly radiated a strand of immortal light. That simple yet incomparably mysterious word actually grew increasingly resplendent, exuding an extraordinary aura. Qin Wentian's eyes were still closed, with no distractions in his heart. It was as though he didn't know what was happening. But as the light grew brighter and brighter, on the originally ordinary walls, the glow of runic inscriptions could be faintly seen flickering. Bit by bit, until the light grew boundless. All the walls shone with a boundless golden light, containing boundless runes, as though they were about to float out. What was even more resplendent was that the word truth seemed to truly float out from the walls. It was like the words of laws, like the words of the great Tao. Beams of runic light directly imprinted onto Qin Wentian's body, gushing into his sea of consciousness. A wondrous sound abruptly rang out, akin to the sound of the great Tao. Space transformed into a three-dimensional form as boundless runes and runes intersected. At this instant, this simple and unadorned ancient palace was currently radiating an incomparable Buddhic light. As the sounds of the great Tao flowed into Qin Wentian's sea of consciousness, countless ancient runes appeared, floating there, incomparably profound. At this moment, Qin Wentian understood that through these years, the path he took had always been correct. Today he finally completed a qualitative transformation. Is this the supreme power of the Buddhist path? Qin Wentian's heart trembled. At this moment he actually had a feeling that the complexity of this mysterious power was actually comparable to God's hand. Chapter 11:24. The word truth contained a supreme innate ability. The more Qin Wentian cultivated it, the more profound it became. He could only close his eyes and meditate. Within the ancient castle, the sounds of Sanskrit rang out unceasingly, resembling the music of the great Tao. Boundless Buddhic light enveloped his body as countless runes flowed into him. The world was vast, and Qin Wentian felt that he was insignificant and weak. However, he was still able to meditate and comprehend the truth. The word truth was a supreme art that contained boundless might. It could allow one to discover one's true self and comprehend one's true self. From there, one would be able to comprehend the true body, true arts, and the power of truth. This caused Qin Wentian to be deeply shocked. This cultivation naturally wasn't something that could be done in a day. Qin Wentian had no idea how many springs and autumns he had spent here. He also had no idea where the others were. The immortal sea was difficult to cross. However, as long as one had extraordinary comprehension abilities, they would naturally be able to do so. Qing, Junmengchen, Hua Taishu and the others naturally wouldn't have any problems. For years passed in the immortal sea. 6 years passed in the ancient castle. Unknowingly, 10 years had passed since Qin Wentian stepped into this space. Qin Wentian truly felt that as his cultivation base rose, it wouldn't be strange even if he closed his eyes and cultivated for hundreds or thousands of years. Today, a Dharma body that looked exactly the same as Qin Wentian appeared behind him. It shone with boundless resplendence. This was his invincible and indestructible physique that contained boundless might. Now it had actually been refined and transformed into an independent true body, the body of truth. This was the power of truth. That Dharma body was shrouded in Buddhic light with many ancient runes revolving around it. At the same time, the light enveloped the true body. Right now, Qin Wentian's physique alone was already strong enough to break through realms and fight. Another year passed. Qin Wentian could faintly speak the incantation and condense true arts. It was just that the might of his incantations wasn't strong enough. After that, the eye between Qin Wentian's eyebrows opened again. It was like the eye of disillusionment. His original eyes slowly opened as well, filled with sharpness. With a glance, he saw 4 doors open amidst the boundless runic light. They seemed to be void doors that could lead to other places. This? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He has already been in this ancient castle for 8 years, and it has been close to 12 years since he stepped into the immortal sea. His cultivation base has risen by 1 level, stepping into the 3rd level of immortal foundation. In this ancient castle, he also obtained the art of truth from the Buddhist path, causing his cultivation base to improve as well. And now he once again saw the entrance to the sacred academy. In this place, there seemed to be several sacred academies, and from here, one could lead to different sacred academies. All of this seemed to prove what the sacred shadow had said before he entered the immortal sea. Different methods of crossing the sea would lead to different locations. He used the art of truth to cross the sea, and this was why he was sent here. Qin Wentian didn't stop. Even after cultivating for so many years, it was impossible for him to completely comprehend this ultimate art. Only by continuously cultivating would he be able to improve. The word truth, engraved here, was like the art of truth. One had to first comprehend it before they could enter the gate, and after that, they would have to cultivate unceasingly before they could improve. This was also like God's hand. Although he was cultivating God's hand, even now, it was impossible for him to say that he had completely comprehended it. He had only comprehended the surface of it. After cultivating for so many years, even if I continued to cultivate it, it would be hard for me to have a greater breakthrough. I should go to the other places to take a look. Qin Wentian mused. After that he stood up. His terrifying eyes swept over the 4 gates as his silhouette flashed. Qin Wentian didn't choose carefully. Since he cultivated the art of the Buddhist path, he would just leave it to fate. After stepping through the gate, Qin Wentian felt that he had traversed a great distance in an instant. When his feet landed on the ground, a crashing sound rang out. That was the sound of the gigantic waves of the sea. At this moment, Qin Wentian stood on a huge rock by the sea. The waves unceasingly gushed over, causing the seawater to splash on his body, soaking his robes. Turning his head back, he saw another stretch of boundless sea. As for before him, There was a majestic-looking ancient structure there. This was the gate to the Sacred Academy. Seems like I've arrived. In this place of truth, there's a gate that leads to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian stared ahead, allowing the waves to soak his robes. After that, he lifted his feet and stepped out, moving in the direction of the gate to the Sacred Academy. A moment later, Qin Wentian arrived at the gate of the Sacred Academy. Stretching out his hands, Qin Wentian pushed open the gate of the Sacred Academy and stepped in. At this moment, a wondrous voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. This was the rule of the Sacred Academy. The gate of the Sacred Academy closed behind him. Qin Wentian stared ahead. Instead of saying that this place was a sacred academy, it would be more accurate to say that this place was an independent world. Qin Wentian stepped forward as though he had sensed something. A faint smile flickered in his eyes. After some time, from afar, a white bolt of lightning could be seen speeding over. Not long after, a snow-white figure directly dove into Qin Wentian's embrace, slamming into Qin Wentian's chest. Little rascal, do you want to ram me to death? Qin Wentian rubbed Little Rascal's head as he smiled. Behind Little Rascal, a beautiful silhouette also appeared before Qin Wentian. It was none other than Purgatory. Why are you only here now? This Baobao has already been here for so many years. Aren't you a little too weak? Little Rascal stared at Qin Wentian with disdain in its eyes. To think that Qin Wentian was actually slower than Little Rascal by so many years. The paths of crossing the sea are different and lead to different places. Before I came here, I went to another place and only found this place after that. What about you guys? After crossing the Immortal Sea, did you directly come here? Qin Wentian asked. He and Little Rascal could be considered to have a telepathic connection. This was especially so for Little Rascal. The two of them were connected by a contract, but after all, they were still independent individuals. When they were separated by space, the connection between them was still very blurry. Yeah, I fell asleep in the Immortal Sea, drifting and floating. When I woke up, I was already here. What a comfortable sleep. Little Rascal spoke lazily, his words causing Qin Wentian to roll his eyes. Wasn't this a little too simple? Stop bragging. Purgatory scolded in a low voice. Little Purgatory, how can you say that? This Baobao has always been here to protect you. Little Rascal inclined its head and spoke. Qin Wentian felt that Little Rascal was getting more and more unreliable. Purgatory, how many people are here in this sacred academy? Are there any friends I know here? Qin Wentian asked Purgatory. Quite a few people have arrived. There should be over 1,000 of them. Many of them are demons. Purgatory replied. As for friends, there's your sister Yunxi. Little Rascal interjected, his words causing Qin Wentian to roll his eyes. He directly smacked Little Rascal's head. This Little Rascal was simply asking for a beating. I didn't say anything wrong. Little Rascal mumbled, feeling a little wronged. There's also Namhuang Yunxi, Nanfeng Xinga and a few others from the Namhuang clan. Other than them, there are also those who followed Big Brother Wentian. Purgatory spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The people Purgatory was referring to were naturally from the Battle Saint tribe. Also, those demons are too annoying. They would often harass Purgatory, as well as Namhuang Yunxi and the others, wanting Purgatory to help them give birth to descendants of vermilion birds. They even wanted Namhuang Yunxi to give birth to descendants with phoenix bloodlines. How shameless. Little Rascal unhappily mumbled. Qin Wentian glanced at Purgatory only to see that Purgatory's expression was somewhat cold. Qin Wentian instantly understood that there must be some demons bullying Purgatory. Many of those demons were powerful greater demons with pure-blooded bloodlines. For example, the Great Rock Race and White Tiger people were all extremely powerful. Their personalities were also tyrannical and direct. Little Rascal's words couldn't be false. Before he entered the Immortal Sea, he had already experienced the arrogance of those pure-blooded greater demons. Their eyes were at the top of their heads. They even dared to offend the supreme human races in the immortal realms. Let's go and look for them. Qin Wentian spoke. Who are we looking for? Little Rascal asked. Namhuang Yunxi and the others. Qin Wentian replied. Little rascal's eyes swiveled as he smiled at Qin Wentian. Purgatory's silhouette flashed as she led the way. What is there in this sacred academy? Qin Wentian soared through the air as he asked. There are many cultivation grounds, as well as many dangerous secret grounds. Right now Nanfeng Yunxi and the others are cultivating in an ancient mountain. There are many innate techniques and techniques of the demonic race there. And there are also powerful demonic beasts in the depths of the ancient mountain. I wonder where they came from, Little Rascal replied. This place is so vast, it's like a world of its own. This isn't just a sacred academy, there are many places we haven't been to before. Understood. Qin Wentian nodded. The group of them soared through the air and after some time, Qin Wentian saw numerous ancient mountains towering in the air. In front of these ancient mountains, there were many people standing on top of huge rocks. Qin Wentian's immortal sense gushed out. Very soon, he found the location where Namhuang Yunxi was at. His silhouette flashed as the group of them flew over. Namhuang Yunxi seemed to have sensed something. Her beautiful eyes turned over, and she saw Qin Wentian flying over. Her cold eyes flashed with a smile as she spoke. You have come. MHM. Qin Wentian descended and came to the side of Namhuang Yunxi. Nanfeng Xinge was here as well. She stared at Qin Wentian and smiled. Something is wrong. Why did you come so late? There isn't just a single sacred academy. From what I know, there might be a total of 4. The innate techniques used to traverse the sea are different, and one might enter a different sacred academy. Qin Wentian spoke. Before this, I went to another place and found an entrance that leads to this place. So this is the case. Nanfeng Xinge's eyes flashed with a smile. Qin Wentian stared at the mountain rampart ahead as his eyes flashed. The shadow of a phoenix could be seen on the rampart, looking extremely vivid and lifelike, as though it was about to rush out from the rampart. Not only so, the other ramparts of the ancient mountains seemed to be filled with all sorts of greater demons. This was a holy land for demonic beasts to cultivate. Did you see anything? Qin Wentian asked. Very profound. The more I comprehend the diagrams engraved here, the more unfathomable they seem. I can even faintly sense a resonance with the power of my bloodline. In fact, I'm guessing that it might even be able to stimulate my bloodline, causing it to become purer. Nanfeng Yunxi's gaze was solemn. Although she was a human cultivator, her ancestor had the phoenix bloodline in her veins. The experts of the Southern Phoenix clan all had the power of the phoenix bloodline in their bodies. This was especially so for the holy successor who had entered the ancestral lands. Stay away from her. At this moment, a demonic voice drifted over. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, only to see that in front of an ancient mountain not far away from him, there was a demonic silhouette on top of a gigantic boulder. This greater demon had the mark of a king on his forehead, and was none other than an expert from the White Tiger people. He was telling Qin Wentian to stay away from Namhuang Yunxi. Chapter 1125. Qin Wentian frowned. Seems like what Little Rascal said before was right. These vile beasts truly coveted Namhuang Yunxi and Purgatory. Right now they even wanted to interfere before Namhuang Yunxi. What does it have to do with you? Namhuang Yunxi coldly spoke. How can it have nothing to do with me? Our White Tiger people have countless beauties, and we only play around with human beauties. However, if the holy successor of the Namhuang clan becomes my woman, I will definitely treat you well. In the future, our children might even have a pure dual bloodline. That young man from the White Tiger people spoke, his words causing many of his tribesmen to laugh. Indeed, they, the White Tiger people, have never tried a woman from the Namhuang clan before. The last time someone wanted to snatch a holy successor of the Namhuang clan was in the Myriad Devil Islands. However, the Namhuang clan produced a strong woman, Nanfeng Jiue, who slaughtered her way into the Myriad Devil Islands, shocking the experts of the immortal realms. Hence, there weren't many people who dared to humiliate the holy successor of the Namhuang clan. Scram! Namhuang Yunxi icily spat out. What a fiery temper! As expected of the holy successor who has entered the ancestral lands, and has a pure phoenix bloodline. The old phoenix should have allowed your phoenix bloodline to be extremely pure, right? That young man from the White Tiger people licked his lips, appearing extremely demonic, causing Nam Huang Yunxi and Namfeng Xinge to feel a wave of disgust. It's rumored that the White Tiger people are truly lustful. Namfeng Xinge coldly spoke. Beauty, do you want to try? Another demonic beast from the White Tiger people stared at Namfeng Xinge with an evil gaze. That gaze caused Namfeng Xinge to feel as though she was completely naked in front of him. It was extremely disgusting. Qin Wentian's expression turned cold. These people from the White Tiger people were truly unbridled enough. Xinge, it's just a vile beast. There's no need to be angry. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice to Namfeng Xinge. As the sound of his voice faded, the eyes of the White Tiger turned to Qin Wentian, gleaming with sharpness. The White Tiger people great demon was actually mocked by a lowly human as an evil creature. If I were you, I would definitely kill him on the spot. From afar, a sharp voice rang out. Qin Wentian, Nam Huang Yunxi, and the others turned their gazes over, only to see a few other silhouettes. Their demonic auras radiated forth unabashedly. In terms of sharpness, they were superior to the White Tiger people. The demon who spoke was the demonic beast of the Tianpeng people. His eyes shone with a dazzling light, and he was obviously a proud and unruly pure-blooded demon. Roar! White Tiger opened his mouth and bellowed. Immediately, a deep but intense roar reverberated through the ancient mountain. It reverberated incessantly, causing one's eardrums to vibrate. We can't kill people here. What a pity. That White Tiger spoke in human language, yet it sounded like a low roar. Many pairs of eyes turned over as expressions of interest appeared on their faces. This was especially so when they clearly saw who Qin Wentian was. Although many years have passed, before Qin Wentian stepped into the immortal sea, his unparalleled astral souls and perfect immortal foundation had left a deep impression on them. It was just that they didn't know if his strength was as dazzling as his immortal foundation and astral souls. As a pure-blooded greater demon, would he be able to tear apart a human with a perfect saint-grade immortal foundation? Numerous silhouettes flickered. In the surroundings of the ancient mountain where Qin Wentian was at, there were many experts from the demonic races. All of them had their gazes fixed on Qin Wentian. Naturally, there were also some humans like Wuxia who were watching quietly. They also wanted to know how strong Qin Wentian's combat prowess was. Even if we can't kill him, it's fine to torture him, right? An expert from the Tianpeng people spoke in a lofty manner. Naturally. The young man from the White Tiger people stared at Qin Wentian. If you kneel on the ground now and prostrate yourself before me, becoming my servant, becoming my mount, I will treat everything that happened earlier as if nothing had happened. As expected of a lowly vile creature. When Nam Huang Yunxi saw the White Tiger people insulting Qin Wentian, her Nam Huang Yunxi's frosty countenance also flashed with coldness. Nam Huang Yunxi, if you are willing to give birth to a demonic cub with me in the Sacred Academy, I can forget about it. That young man from the White Tiger people spoke again when he heard Nam Huang Yunxi's words. The experts from the White Tiger people beside him were all giggling, staring at the beautiful figures of Nam Huang Yunxi and Namfeng Xinge, as they drooled with desire. Haha, do you want to give birth to a few more for us? Another young man from the White Tiger people laughed uproariously. Such humiliation caused Nam Huang Yunxi to float in the air as a fearsome aura radiated from her. A phoenix feather appeared behind her, causing the temperature of the entire space to rise abruptly. With her as the center, blazing flames could be seen in the air. Holy successor of the Namhuang clan, I truly want to see how strong you are with your phoenix bloodline. I will do my best to tame you. An expert from the White Tiger people stepped out. This expert was the same as Nam Huang Yunxi. He was also at the second level of Immortal Foundation. The White Tiger people had the title of royalty of the demon races. Although they were lustful, extravagant, and had nothing in their eyes, there was no need to doubt their pride. Hence, they wouldn't take the initiative to send a higher-level expert from the White Tiger people to deal with Nam Huang Yunxi. Are you even qualified to fight against Holy Maiden Yunxi? I alone am sufficient to deal with you. Namfeng Xinge's silhouette flashed as she appeared a distance away from Nam Huang Yunxi, staring at that expert from the White Tiger people. That expert from the White Tiger people glanced at Namfeng Shinga. Upon seeing that Namfeng Shinga was similarly beautiful and pure, akin to a poem or a painting, flames of lust were ignited in his heart. He stepped out towards Namfeng Shinga and spoke. If you are defeated, this young demon lord will definitely make sure you accompany me. Let me deal with Nam Huang Yunxi then. Another expert from the White Tiger people stepped out. Just be my slave mount. A third-level Immortal Foundation expert from the White Tiger people stepped out, staring at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at these demons from the White Tiger people as he silently mused at the purity of their bloodlines. There were actually so many demons who managed to enter the Sacred Academy. Although he loathed this race, he had to admit that the talent of this race was extraordinary. This was the innate superiority of some powerful demonic races. They were born to be kings. With a flash of his silhouette, Qin Wentian appeared in a certain direction as he floated in the air. Although the White Tiger people were born to be kings, he wanted to let these fellows feel the word humiliation today. Rumble. Over at Namhuang Yunxi's side, blazing flames towered up into the sky. The shadow of the phoenix enveloped Namhuang Yunxi as a battle instantly erupted. Namfeng Shinga was also fighting against her opponent. In an instant, the entire space trembled violently as killing intent engulfed everything. Lowly human. Even if I can't kill you, I will make you my slave. The king character in the center of the brows of the White Tiger people expert in front of Qin Wentian radiated a terrifying aura. A moment later, the might of a king circulated around him, tyrannical to the extreme. That pure bloodline of the royal bloodline of the demonic races was extremely terrifying, as his baleful qi towered up into the sky. A resplendent light radiated from Qin Wentian as runic light circulated around him. His ordinary human physique at this moment was akin to that of a fiend god, giving off an extraordinary feeling. Upon seeing this scene, the White Tiger people expert abruptly opened his mouth and roared. Roar! His roar shook the heavens as baleful qi engulfed everything. An incomparably gigantic white tiger appeared in the air, as a tyrannical demonic phoenix ravaged this entire space. Numerous white tiger shadows manifested, directly aiming for Qin Wentian's body. The white tiger didn't move. With a loud roar, the power of its attack arrived, aiming for Qin Wentian. If it was an ordinary human, they would be instantly killed under the might of this attack. Qin Wentian could feel the overwhelming killing intent. His lips moved as he spat out a single word, suppress. Just as the word faded from his mouth, a dazzling light flashed from his body. A strong light bloomed as Qin Wentian's body emanated an extremely tyrannical suppressive force. At the same time, a gigantic ancient word was unleashed, blasting at the white tiger shadow. Between the two of them, the terrifying collision resulted in a violent turbulence. The white tiger's killing intent was unable to do anything to Qin Wentian, and was even destroyed by a single word. This scene caused the eyes of the White Tiger people experts to flash as they stared at the battlefield. By spitting out a single word, the white tiger's roar had been neutralized. The single word Qin Wentian spat out seemed to contain a miraculous and infinite power. Its might was astonishing, especially to the white tiger youth who was facing Qin Wentian. When Qin Wentian spat out the ancient word, he felt a Sanskrit sound seep into his eardrums, as though a powerful invisible suppressive force had landed on his body. Roar! The White Tiger people youth roared once more as he stretched out his palms. An incomparably gigantic white tiger baleful god lunged forth, directly grabbing towards Qin Wentian. The baleful qi from the white tiger could affect one's state of mind. There was no way for Qin Wentian to escape. Destroy! Qin Wentian spat out another word, transforming it into the power of mantra. As the sound of this word faded, even the heavens and earth seemed to tremble. A terrifying destructive force was born between the heavens and earth, directly destroying the white tiger baleful god. Qin Wentian's body was enveloped in a multicolored light, causing the gazes of the experts present to freeze as they stared fixedly at him. Although the white tiger people youth didn't move his body when he attacked, he had, after all, used an offensive technique. On the other hand, Qin Wentian stood with his hands clasped behind his back, not moving at all. He merely spat out a single word, and that was enough to neutralize the powerful attack. Such a weak attack. Is this the capital? You have to be so conceited? As expected of the lowly white tiger people. Qin Wentian mocked. His body was akin to a divine body as he stepped out, appearing in front of the white tiger people, and punched out with his fist. That white tiger people roared in rage. Qin Wentian, a lowly human, actually dared to humiliate him like this? Not only that, he even wanted to clash head-on with him. He, the white tiger people, was a royal member of the demon race, a race of baleful gods. Their killing prowess was heaven-shaking, and their attacks were terrifying. Other than the other royal members of the demon race, who would dare to clash head-on with them. He roared in rage as the bones in his body emitted cracking sounds. His arm blasted out, transforming into the body of a white tiger at the same time. Baleful qi enveloped the heavens and earth, clashing together with Qin Wentian. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out, causing the void to tremble. That white tiger people youth let out a blood-curdling scream. His body seemed to be on the verge of shattering. The bones in his arms were shattered, and fresh blood seeped out. His body that had transformed into a white tiger was sent flying, and his entire body was covered in blood. It was as though his body was about to explode from Qin Wentian's punch. The white tiger people's experts stepped forward at the same time. Terrifying thumping sounds rang out, and for a moment, baleful qi filled the air. Qin Wentian's body didn't move at all. He stood in the void, looking down at the injured white tiger and coldly said, "Can't even withstand a single blow, and can be destroyed with a raise of my hand. Is this what you, the white tiger people, are proud of?" Chapter 1126. The white tiger people expert who was injured by Qin Wentian crawled up. His body reverted to his true form, an incomparably gigantic white tiger. He roared in a low voice as fresh blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, appearing extremely miserable. That earlier strike from Qin Wentian caused him to be heavily injured. "Since you can't win, you want to gang up on me? Royalty of the demon race?" Qin Wentian stared at the experts of the white tiger people in the surroundings, their baleful auras soaring up into the sky. The mocking expression on his face grew even more intense. Many greater demons in the surroundings were taken aback by the earlier punch from Qin Wentian. The legendary Saint-grade Immortal Foundation was truly tyrannical. After cleansing his body, his attack could actually directly suppress the experts of the white tiger people. The white tiger race was actually humiliated by a lowly human. A mocking voice drifted over. It was another expert from the Tianping people. "Shut up." A low-sounding voice rang out, only to see a demonic young man walking out from the white tiger people. He stood in the center of the white tiger people, and when he walked out, the other white tigers all stood on his left and right, like a king among kings. His gaze swept over, staring at the Tianping people as he coldly spoke. "If you Tianping people want to experience it, I can accompany you to play. By Mao, you are the royalty of the white tiger race. If you want to fight, my Tianping people will naturally send people to accompany you. Right now, it is the humans who humiliated your white tiger people, not my Tianping people." The voice of the Tianping people was sharp, clearly knowing that the young man who spoke was extremely impatient. The Sky Rock race and White Tiger race were both powerful demonic races in the western regions of the Immortal Realms. Their strength was shocking, and the White Tiger race was known as the King of Demons. But even so, there was still a royal race within the White Tiger race, known as the King of Kings. It was like how the Southern Phoenix clan had many holy maidens, but there was also a holy successor among the holy maidens. The royal clan of the White Tiger people had king-grade purebloods. The demon race was different from humans. They valued their bloodline very much. The purer a demon's bloodline, the more terrifying their potential. Within the demon race, they categorized the demonic bloodlines like Immortal Foundation, Mortal, King-grade, and Saint-grade. There were 6 tiers, and the reason why the demon race could produce so many more members was because they had diluted the pure-blooded bloodlines of their ancestors. The White Tiger people all had pure White Tiger bloodlines, but the purity of their bloodlines was different. For those of the royal bloodline, the purity of their bloodlines was extremely high. They had king-grade bloodlines. Naturally, as royalty of the demonic races, even if the white tiger people only had a pure-blooded mortal-grade bloodline, they were still incomparable to ordinary humans. Their bloodline was the royal bloodline, and was even more valuable compared to the king-grade immortal foundation of many humans like Wuxia. And for the royal-grade demonic races with a king-grade bloodline, they were truly extremely terrifying. The value of their bloodline was close to the saint-grade immortal foundation of humans. As for the royal-grade demonic races with a saint-grade bloodline, up till now, there had never been any news of any demon race having one. If one was born with a saint-grade bloodline, they would naturally be the absolute leader of the demon race. As for that Bai Mao, he was from the royal clan of the White Tiger people, and had a pure-blooded king-grade bloodline. His cultivation base was at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation, and the Immortal Foundation he established was also a king-grade Immortal Foundation. Not only that, it was a 5th-tier king-grade Immortal Foundation that was close to perfection. Shut your mouth then. Bai Mao calmly glanced at the experts from the Tianping people. His calm voice was filled with an intense baleful aura. When he stepped out, the other experts from the White Tiger people all retreated, standing to the left and right of him. Bai Mao didn't even look at Qin Wentian. Instead, he turned his gaze to the other two battlefields, the one where Namhuang Yunqi and Namfeng Xinge were fighting. Namhuang Yunqi was as expected of the holy successor. She had already completely injured her opponent. The flames radiating from her body were terrifying, and the phoenix ancestor of the Namhuang clan had an extremely pure bloodline. That ancestral phoenix had bestowed upon Namhuang Yunqi an extraordinary phoenix bloodline. Her wings were like true phoenix feathers, and the innate techniques she unleashed contained boundless might. From the start to the end, she suppressed her opponent until they were heavily injured. Even the picturesque beauty Namfeng Xinge was extremely powerful in combat. She wasn't at a disadvantage when fighting against her opponent. The holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, Namfeng Xinge, who fought against Namhuang Yunqi for the position of holy successor back then, had a comprehension ability that wasn't inferior to Namhuang Yunqi. Even when fighting against the experts from the White Tiger people, she wasn't inferior at all. Retreat. Bai Mao spoke. A moment later, that young man from the White Tiger people let out a thunderous roar as he retreated. His malevolent countenance was filled with baleful qi. 3 battles, 2 were lost, and the last one was a draw. Before this, the White Tiger people were so arrogant, looking down on the human Wuxia, wanting Qin Wentian to become a mount for them, wanting Namhuang Yunqi and Namfeng Xinge to bear the children of their White Tiger people. But from the looks of things now, these White Tiger people were too arrogant. They couldn't even defeat their opponents, yet they still dared to call their opponents lowly humans. Ai, how shameful! Little Rascal leaped onto Purgatory's shoulder as his childish voice rang out. Purgatory glanced at Little Rascal, but didn't say anything. There's nothing to be ashamed of. These 3 humans are already extraordinary. Before this, Qin Wentian's astral souls and immortal foundation were both unrivaled. Nobody in the immortal realms can compare to Wuxia. What's so shameful about an ordinary member of our White Tiger people losing to him? Namhuang Yunqi is also the holy successor of the Namhuang clan, and is an extremely powerful character among humans in the immortal realms. If it was the Tianping people or other demonic races, their ending would most probably be the same as well. Bai Mao's voice was cold and filled with arrogance. After that, the expressions of the White Tiger people behind him eased up a little. Bai Mao's words weren't wrong. It was just that they had underestimated their opponents earlier, underestimating Wuxia, who stood at the peak of the human race. In reality, these 3 humans all had extraordinary statuses. Bai Mao's cold and arrogant eyes swept out in all directions. Those demons who faced him didn't even dare to look into his eyes. That pair of terrifying eyes seemed to contain a fearsome, baleful aura. Just a single glance from him was enough to affect the hearts and minds of others. After that, Bai Mao's eyes landed on Qin Wentian as he spoke. You were disrespectful to us White Tiger people. I should kill you. However, your cultivation base is too weak. If I directly kill you, using the words of you humans, it would seem that I'm bullying the weak. Receive an attack from me. If you can survive, consider it your luck. Despicable. Namhuang Yunqi berated. As a White Tiger royalty, You have the pure-blooded king-grade bloodline, and your cultivation base is at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation, 3 levels higher than us. What a terrifying disparity is this? You actually have the cheek to make such a request? Simply shameless. In the Immortal Foundation realm, if 2 people had the same level of talent, the disparity between each level was something that couldn't be made up for. Let alone a difference of 3 levels, it was simply like the difference between the heavens and the earth. In addition, Bai Mao was a white tiger royalty. As the holy successor of the Namhuang clan, she had the bloodline of the ancient phoenix. She naturally knew how terrifying the royal bloodlines of demon kings were. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that if this Bai Mao was at the same level as her, he would be even more terrifying compared to her, the holy successor. Roar. As the sound of Namhuang Yunxi's voice faded, Bai Mao let out a thunderous roar. The shadow of the white tiger demon king appeared as baleful qi engulfed everything in all directions. Namhuang Yunxi used her wings to wrap around her body as rumbling sounds rang out. She was actually forced back by the impact. Not only her, the people around Bai Mao were all forced back as well. Purgatory and Little Rascal's countenances drastically changed as they hurriedly retreated. The target of the baleful qi was none other than Qin Wentian. From this, one could very well imagine how much pressure Qin Wentian was under right now. Boom! Bai Mao stepped out, stomping on the ground. His physique grew incomparably sturdy as a gigantic white tiger appeared behind him. In the center of his brows, the king character shimmered with a towering might, enveloping this entire space. At this instant, Qin Wentian felt countless baleful qi gushing into his body, wanting to destroy him, only to see a boundless divine glow radiating from Qin Wentian, akin to a divine body, exuding a solemn and dignified aura. Behind him, a supreme body actually manifested, identical to him. That was the true self-law body he condensed. The light from the true self-law body enveloped his true body, causing it to glow with a resplendent light. Within the boundless baleful qi storm, Qin Wentian saw Bai Mao's white tiger true body stepping over. He was like a true god of death, capable of slaughtering all existences. Demon kings were royalty of the white tiger people, kings among kings. Boom! Another thunderous boom rang out. Bai Mao lifted his fist and punched out. In an instant, countless terrifying claw marks engulfed the area, enveloping the entire space. There was basically no way for Qin Wentian to escape. He could only clash head-on. Qin Wentian released his perfect saint-grade immortal foundation, manifesting countless diagrams that manifested the shadow of the true Ho. God's hand shone with resplendent light. Qin Wentian actually didn't adopt a defensive stance, nor did he take out an immortal-ranked weapon. He actually chose to clash head-on with Bai Mao. Everything happened in the time it takes for sparks to fly off a piece of flint. God's hand clashed against Qin Wentian's attack. The white tiger and the true Ho clashed against each other, causing the entire space to turn chaotic. Sand and gravel flew about as huge boulders on the ground crumbled apart. Mountains were split apart from the center, turning into dust. Bang! Qin Wentian's attack was broken apart. Bai Mao's attack contained boundless demonic might, containing boundless might. The baleful qi gushed into his body, wanting to destroy everything. Qin Wentian groaned in misery as he retreated, slamming into a huge boulder behind him, causing it to explode. When he finally stopped, he only felt his blood and qi churning wildly. The baleful qi in his body was still wreaking havoc. Qin Wentian. Only now did Namhuang Yunxi react. That baleful qi earlier was too terrifying. It felt like she would be annihilated by it if she rushed into the battlefield. Rushing to the side of Qin Wentian, Namhuang Yunxi's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of worry. Don't worry. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. He stared at the tyrannical Bai Mao as he spoke. White Tiger Demon King, you are merely so. The look in Bai Mao's eyes was extremely terrifying. He was still staring fixedly at Qin Wentian. The white tiger beside him stepped out, its countenance malevolent as though it wanted to tear Qin Wentian into pieces. Halt! Bai Mao coldly spoke. A moment later, those experts from the white tiger people halted their steps. He was still staring at Qin Wentian as he spoke. Your courage isn't bad, and your strength is strong as well. It's rare for such a powerful character to appear. Wuxia, I will spare your life. But if you dare to offend the prestige of our White Tiger people again, I will definitely make you pay the price. Shameless boasting. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. You are at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation, a demon king of the White Tiger people. If I were you, I would definitely annihilate your entire clan. Bai Mao narrowed his eyes when he heard Qin Wentian's disrespectful words. His baleful qi gushed forth once more, terrifying to the extreme. Chapter 1127. Qin Wentian's words were simply arrogant to the extreme. His White Tiger race was a royal race in the demon world. Their statuses were incomparably lofty, comparable to the immortal clans in Wuxia's memories. Boom! Bai Mao stepped out once more, causing the entire space to tremble as baleful qi towered up into the sky. I initially wanted to spare your life, but you actually dared to be so impudent, insulting my White Tiger race. Since this is the case, although I won't kill you, I will let you know the consequences. As the sound of his voice faded, Bai Mao's baleful might towered up into the sky. Your words are truly laughable. Could it be that only your White Tiger people are allowed to humiliate others, but others are not allowed to retaliate? Nam Huang Yunxi's voice was cold. No. Bai Mao glanced at Nam Huang Yunxi. You are right. Only my White Tiger people are allowed to humiliate you, but you are not allowed to retaliate. Nam Huang Yunxi, although you are the holy successor of the Namhuang clan, this place is the sacred academy, and the people from your Namhuang clan who came here aren't as strong as my White Tiger people. Not only that, you are a beautiful woman. The threat in his voice was unmasked. Namhuang Yunxi turned ashen. Qin Wentian waved his hand as a city appeared. Light flashed as the city expanded outwards, transforming into a terrifying gigantic city. Qin Wentian slowly soared up into the air as the city rose up with him. The experts in the surroundings all stood on top of the city as they rose up into the air. Bai Mao frowned. He didn't move when he saw this scene, allowing the city to lift him up. When he glanced at Qin Wentian again, he only saw that Qin Wentian was surrounded by a dazzling light that enveloped Namhuang Yunxi, Namfeng Xingda and the others. Immortal Weapon City. Bai Mao coldly spoke. In my place, there has never been a precedent of only allowing others to humiliate me. Just now, I took your attack because I wanted to see how strong you are. If you want to be so arrogant, I will definitely make you evil creatures pay the price. Qin Wentian spoke with cold arrogance. A puppet floated before him, and he pressed his palm against it. Instantly, the puppet enveloped Qin Wentian's body, forming a perfect fusion with him. It was like a divine armor, fusing together with Qin Wentian's body. I'd like to see how you'll make me pay. Qin Wentian arrogantly spoke. After donning the puppet armor, the aura he radiated was already at the 9th level of Immortal Foundation. The light radiating from him was terrifying to the extreme. Bai Mao stared at Qin Wentian before glancing at this extraordinary city. He then turned his gaze to Qin Wentian. My White Tiger people have countless slaves of the human Wuxia, and there are some with extraordinary talent among them. However, there are very few who have the guts to challenge my White Tiger people. However, do you really think that you are the only one with a powerful immortal weapon? I naturally don't think so. But your arrogance is truly disgusting. Since you White Tiger people are so arrogant, how do you want to fight? I will accompany you. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. What's the point of fighting against treasures and immortal weapons? Your guts aren't bad, but your strength is pitifully weak. I hope that in the Sacred Academy, I will be able to see you grow stronger. At that time, I will definitely let you know why there's a need for the White Tiger King clan. Bai Mao arrogantly spoke. With a flash of his silhouette, he actually turned and departed, no longer bothering with Qin Wentian. Wait for me to grow stronger? Qin Wentian laughed. His eyes flashed as he stared at the experts of the Tianpeng people. Staring at those arrogant silhouettes, he coldly snorted. Tianpeng people? Just a bunch of lowly birds. You are courting death. An expert from the Tianpeng people stepped out, glaring at Qin Wentian. The eyes of the people in the surroundings flashed. They didn't expect this Qin Wentian to be so brazen. He just offended the experts of the White Tiger people, and now, he even dared to provoke the Tianping people. In the western regions of the Immortal Realms, the Tianping people would definitely not be weaker compared to the White Tiger people. They were extremely tyrannical, and the king of their race, the golden-winged great rocks, had unparalleled strength. They had the pure bloodline of the ancient great golden-winged rock king. A golden-winged great rock with king-grade bloodline was simply too terrifying. Qin Wentian just had a conflict with the White Tiger people, and now, he wanted to provoke the Tianping people? One couldn't help but say that this fellow was simply too brazen. Even many demons couldn't stand it. At the front, Bai Mao even halted his steps. He turned his head and glanced at the experts from the Tianping people as he coldly laughed. Before this, you said that if they dared to humiliate the Tianping people like this, you guys would kill them on the spot. I'm really looking forward to it. Kill them all. Little rascal stretched out his little claws from behind Qin Wentian. These birdmen from the Tianping people weren't any good characters. Before this, they kept mocking and instigating the White Tiger people with words. How disgusting. I don't want to see you bunch of birds. Scram. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice, staring at the experts from the Tianping people. The eyes of the experts from the Tianping people all gleamed with a terrifying light. A figure stepped out as a pair of wings abruptly appeared on his back. Both of his wings seemed to be made from pure gold and shone with runic light, sharper than swords and sabers. A golden rock appeared. Although it wasn't a golden-winged rock of the royal bloodline, its body still flowed with the royal bloodline. Its golden body shimmered with a resplendent light as its eyes pierced through everything, terrifying to the extreme. With a flap of its wings, sizzling sounds could be heard. A golden long spear appeared on the talons of the golden rock. This golden long spear shone with resplendent runic light, capable of piercing through everything. This was an extremely powerful immortal ranked weapon. Lowly humans, you don't know the immensity of death. That golden rock transformed into a golden bolt of lightning, and instantly rushed out. Boundless golden light radiated from the heavens and earth, enveloping the entire space. In that instant, Qin Wentian only felt the space around him changing. The shadow of a supreme golden rock enveloped this entire space, and he was currently within the shadow of the golden rock. The golden long spear of lightning blasted out explosively. It was so fast that it was hard for the naked eye to see the silhouette of the golden rock. The speed of a great rock has always been incomparably ferocious. Qin Wentian himself had also cultivated the art of a great rock. But right now, the golden rock in front of him had a pure bloodline of the Tianping people. He was born with unparalleled speed. A fearsome attack directly pierced towards his head. That long spear seemed to be able to penetrate through everything, including Qin Wentian's puppet armor. Qin Wentian radiated a towering light. He lifted his palms and blasted out. Through the augmentation provided by the puppet armor, the terrifying god's hand shone with a dazzling radiance. An ancient halberd of destruction appeared, gleaming with a dark golden light, capable of breaking through everything, colliding head-on with the lightning-long spear of his opponent. Ear-piercing sounds of collision rang out as golden bolts of lightning unceasingly blasted out. It was too fast. It was unknown how many attacks were aimed at Qin Wentian. The light from Qin Wentian's immortal foundation radiated frenziedly, transforming into the form of a great rock. He lifted his palms and attacked, manifesting numerous great rock immortal arts. In an instant, demonic chi engulfed the area, clashing madly with the spear of his opponent. The two of them soared up into the air, engaging in a frenzied battle. The eyes of those from the Tianping people flashed. Qin Wentian was actually proficient in their rock immortal arts and was extremely powerful. The experts from the Tianping people attacked again. That immortal-ranked long spear radiated boundless resplendent light, resembling a golden-winged great rock that appeared, wanting to devour Qin Wentian within it. Scram! Qin Wentian roared. His god's hand actually manifested a golden-winged great rock. This golden-winged great rock seemed to be a real existence, unleashing a heaven-shaking attack that penetrated through everything. The two golden-winged great rocks clashed madly, fighting in the air, wanting to tear each other apart. Their ferocious might towered up into the sky, and this scene was simply too shocking. Finally, the golden-winged great rock manifested by Qin Wentian seemed to have an endless supply of energy. It slammed into his opponent, and a cracking sound rang out. The indestructible body of his opponent was shattered as golden blood flowed from his wound. At the same time, the rock transformed into lightning and retreated back to his original location. Its incomparably lofty eyes stared fixedly at Qin Wentian. The skin of these mixed birds is so thick. Little purgatory, can your fire roast them? Little rascal spoke in a baby-like voice, his words causing the golden rock to cough out another mouthful of golden blood. The other experts from the Tianpeng people also coldly stared at little rascal. Their gazes are so terrifying, scaring this Baobao to death. Little rascal spoke again. After that, his silhouette flashed as he appeared in the air. With a long whistle, golden light filled the sky as he transformed into a golden-winged great rock, incomparably dazzling. His entire body shimmered with a resplendent light as he stared at the experts from the Tianpeng people. Do you see this? This Baobao is the true pure-blooded golden-winged great rock. Quickly call me ancestor. Chi. A golden claw shot out towards little rascal. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he appeared in front of little rascal, allowing the attack to land on him. He then stepped out and spoke with cold arrogance. Why are you all still not scramming? Let me send you guys off. As he spoke, Qin Wentian stepped out. Upon seeing this scene, the expressions of the experts from the Tianpeng people all turned incredibly unsightly. The strongest expert from the Tianpeng people here was defeated by Qin Wentian. How could they continue to fight? Let's go. The injured Sky Rock's silhouette flashed as he arced through the air. The other experts from the Tianpeng people also followed suit. How shameful. Little rascal called out. From the air, the voice of the Tianpeng people drifted over. Remember this, be more careful in the sacred academy in the future. If the king of our race descends, he will definitely make sure all of you die without a burial ground. Even if you can't win, you are just bragging. Little rascal mumbled. Qin Wentian didn't chase after it. He glanced at the surroundings, and at this moment, the gazes of the people here were filled with trepidation. They no longer dared to be like before, staring at the two of them fearlessly. It was as though they were waiting for them to be humiliated and killed. If Qin Wentian didn't act more domineeringly, there would definitely be endless troubles ahead. This was the result of strength. He wanted to let these people know that they shouldn't antagonize him easily. The light dissipated. Qin Wentian kept the city as the puppet armor on him vanished as well. Namhuang Yunxi walked over. Many thanks. Is there a need for us to be so polite? Qin Wentian shrugged and smiled. Just devote your heart to me. Little rascal muttered in his snow-white form. Qin Wentian sent little rascal flying with a single slap, causing it to tumble through the air. Little rascal didn't forget to add. This Baobao is merely speaking the truth. Ignore little rascal. Qin Wentian speechlessly spoke. This little rascal was getting more and more mischievous. Namhuang Yunxi smiled sweetly and didn't say anything. Namfeng Xinga, who was beside her, spoke. If holy maiden Yunxi is willing to devote her heart to you, would Sir Qin marry her? Xinga. Namhuang Yunxi glared at Namfeng Xinga, who was beside her. Namfeng Xinga also joined in the fun. I heard that it's impossible for the holy successor to marry an outsider. But as for beauty Xinga, if I proposed to the Namhuang clan, I wonder if the Namhuang clan would consider it. A mischievous smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face when he saw Namfeng Xinga's smile. This lass even dared to tease him. I definitely have no objections. Namhuang Yunxi retaliated, causing Namfeng Xinga's face to turn red. Chapter 1128. Namfeng Xinga was originally already beautiful, like a maiden from a painting. Right now, her face was flushed red, making her even more beautiful. Although Namhuang Yunxi was a beauty, she couldn't help but feel a little dazed when she saw Namfeng Xinga's current countenance. If she was a man, she most probably wouldn't be able to resist the urge to marry Namfeng Xinga. Glancing at Qin Wentian, Namhuang Yunxi smiled. Seems like our Xinga's heart is moved. Yunxi, stop talking nonsense. Don't forget that I'm your protector. Nam Fengshenga glared at Nam Huang Yunxi, pretending to be angry. However, her countenance was still as beautiful as ever. You were the one who teased me first. Nam Huang Yunxi laughed. The people in the surroundings all fell into a daze when they saw the two cold and arrogant holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan having such a side to them. Their gazes were filled with envy when they looked at Qin Wentian. This fellow's luck with women wasn't shallow. To be able to make the two holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan act like this. Most probably, these two holy maidens really did have a favorable impression of Qin Wentian. After all, what sort of characters were the holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan? It was impossible for ordinary friends to act like this. They would still be reserved and arrogant. Only when the relationship between them was extraordinary would they reveal their most casual side, which was the bashful side of women. Oh yeah, Yunxi, did you guys see Qing and Jun Mingchen? Are they in the same sacred academy? Qin Wentian asked. Qing and Jun Mingchen's talent were extraordinary. After so many years, they must have entered a sacred academy. He didn't doubt this point, but he didn't know which sacred academy they were in. No. I heard you say that there is more than one sacred academy. I suddenly remembered a secret realm of a sacred academy. Because I was too weak, I didn't stay there for too long. Now that I think about it, it might be connected to all the sacred academies. Nam Huang Yunxi also stopped joking. Her beautiful eyes flickered as if she suddenly thought of something. She looked at Qin Wentian. Are you saying? Nam Fengshenga's beautiful eyes flickered. Clearly, she had the same thought as well. What secret realm? Qin Wentian asked. Let me show you, said Nam Huang Yunxi. All right, let's go. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, the group of them stepped out, leaving this ancient peak as they moved towards the depths of the sacred academy. This region is extremely vast. When we first entered here, we went to a few places. In the sacred academy, there's a secret realm that can bring people into the void. There are many people there, and before this, I was wondering if they were all people from the sacred academy. Now that I heard your words, I realized that there might be other sacred academies that are connected to this secret realm. Nam Huang Yunxi spoke. Their speed was extremely fast, and from afar they could faintly see majestic buildings. It was unknown who built these buildings, and they also didn't know who created this Tiandao Sacred Academy. It was said that the appearance of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was a symbol of the era of ancient emperors. Within these buildings, many silhouettes could be seen. There were actually quite a few of them, and most of them were the human Wuxia. It's right ahead. Nam Huang Yunxi passed by numerous buildings and finally arrived before an incomparably majestic altar. This altar was incomparably large, and there was a mystical energy enveloping it. There were thousands of sacrificial altars on it, and on each of the sacrificial altars, there were human figures sitting cross-legged with their eyes closed in meditation. However, the auras of many of them were fluctuating intensely, as though they were experiencing something. What a powerful light! Qin Wentian stared at the astral light on the sacrificial altars. On those sacrificial altars, he could even see the silhouettes of several people from the Battle Saint tribe. They were all seated there, exuding a fearsome aura, as though they had no idea what was happening in the outside world. Numerous beams of cold light shot over. Qin Wentian discovered that the experts from the White Tiger people were here as well. Among them, the royal demon Bai Mao was among them. He glanced at Qin Wentian and coldly spoke. This place isn't a place where you can come with your cultivation base. What does this have to do with you? Qin Wentian stared at Bai Mao as he impolitely spoke. In this sacred academy, everyone in this space was at the immortal foundation realm. There was no need to talk about status, strength was enough. There was also no need to show respect to humans or demonic beasts. Only by being strong would one be able to win respect. If not, the other party wouldn't hesitate to humiliate and kill you. That's right, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just reminding you that this place isn't a place where you can use immortal rank treasures to enter. Once you step onto the sacrificial altar, everything would depend on your own strength. Given your current cultivation base, you would only end up in a miserable state. Bai Mao was as arrogant as ever. Although his voice was calm, There was an extremely thick sense of arrogance within. After you step onto the sacrificial altar, your body will remain at its original location. However, you will feel as though you have entered another space. Within there are many experts. It's extremely mystical. Nam Huang Yunxi transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian instantly understood that there was actually such a mystical place. I'll go take a look. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. He didn't know if he would be able to see Qing and Jun Mingchen inside. Be careful. The people inside are all extremely strong and they would kill wantonly. Nam Huang Yunxi reminded in a low voice. Qin Wentian nodded his head. His silhouette flashed as he directly stepped onto the sacrificial altar and sat down on it. Instantly, a surge of law energy enveloped Qin Wentian's body. A marvelous feeling abruptly gushed forth, and in the next instant, he actually felt as though his soul had left his body. Borrowing the power, he appeared in another space. Qin Wentian stood on the ground and stared at his hands. He only felt that this was too surreal. This was too mystical. When he was young, Qin Wentian had once been in a particle world. At that time, when he was cultivating in the Emperor Star Academy, there was a place called the Dream Sky Forest that allowed him to enter the dreamscape. But the feeling he had now was completely different. The energy here was too strong. It was an extremely terrifying law energy. Not only that, a lot of information appeared in his mind. Qin Wentian surveyed his surroundings, only to feel his heart trembling. This space was like a majestic heavenly palace, a place where supreme experts resided. The stone pillars in the surroundings were over 100 meters tall, and the palaces were incomparably majestic, exuding an aura of majesty. It was as though they were cast from divine stones, resembling a heavenly palace. Experts of the Tianping People's King fighting against the 9 Emperors' immortal state, quickly come and watch the battle. At this moment, a line of words actually appeared in the air. It seemed to be written using astral energy and floated in the starry skies, incomparably mystical. What a mystical space. Qin Wentian silently mused. He knew that the ancient words in the air were written by someone. Where? Another gigantic ancient word floated in the air, as though someone was asking. Tongtian Heaven Stone. Another person inscribed a word in the air. At this moment, a silhouette flickered by his side. A moment later, Qin Wentian followed after those silhouettes, flying towards a certain direction. You dare to enter the sky-connecting realm with such a weak cultivation base? You are truly courting death. A person soared through the air. He glanced at Qin Wentian as he emotionlessly spoke. Evidently, Qin Wentian's cultivation base at the 3rd level of Immortal Foundation wasn't enough to enter the eyes of this person. Are the people of the sky-connecting realm all very strong? Qin Wentian asked. The sky-connecting realm is a place that connects the heavens and earth. The experts who enter here are naturally very strong. For people at your level, you would only be tortured to death. However, there seems to be a great battle here that I can admire. I won't kill you then. That person calmly spoke. Upon hearing his words, Qin Wentian couldn't help but to laugh. He then replied, in that case, I have to thank you for sparing my life. MHM. That person's eyes flashed. He stared at Qin Wentian and laughed. You are truly interesting. However, even if I don't kill you, you would still be courting death. Over 10 years ago, I saw your perfect immortal foundation in the outside world. What secret art did you cultivate? Qin Wentian's gaze stiffened. He didn't expect that this person would remember him, and wanted to probe some information out of him. You can say so. But how did the words in the void come about? Qin Wentian pointed to the air as he asked. Do you see those towering astral stone pillars? They are all connected to the heavens. If you use your strength to inscribe the words on them, they would be able to reach the heavens and float in the air. That expert pointed to a towering stone pillar as he spoke. The golden-winged great rock of the Tianping people actually wants to fight against the people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state. Seems like there's going to be a good show. The people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state are definitely the most outstanding characters here. Qin Wentian continued advancing. More and more experts gathered here, and after a long time, Qin Wentian finally arrived at a place. This place was even more majestic and majestic. Up ahead, there were actually numerous stone pillars that towered up to the heavens, exuding a dazzling light. In the surroundings, experts were as common as clouds, all of them staring at the pillars ahead. Over there, the silhouette of an incomparably lofty young man could be seen. This young man radiated boundless golden light, as dazzling as the sun. His gaze was incomparably sharp, able to penetrate through everything. Just casually standing in the air, he gave off a feeling of invincibility, like he was the only existence in this place. The royal golden-winged great rock of the Tianping people? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He could sense the pure bloodline of this young man. The bloodline of this expert from the Tianping people must be extremely pure, a true pure-blooded golden rock. He's here. At this moment, a low voice rang out. After that, several figures could be seen flying over from afar. The person in the lead was surrounded by a boundless radiance, exuding an incomparable sense of nobility. He was like an emperor descending from the heavens, unexcelled in the world. He stood in the air, wanting everyone to submit to him. Everyone had to prostrate themselves on the ground, bowing their heads in submission. An expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state, Huang Wudi. His cultivation base is at the peak of the 8th level of Immortal Foundation, a 5th-tier king-grade Immortal Foundation. He cultivates the Emperor Canon, and has unparalleled strength. I wonder if he would be able to stand against this Rock King. Someone spoke in a low voice, the voice drifting into Qin Wentian's ears. So it turned out that this young man who just arrived was none other than the incomparably arrogant expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. In addition, he was also a member of the royal clan of the 9 Emperors' immortal state, Prince Huang Wudi. The 9 Emperors' immortal state was located in the central region of the immortal realms, and was a supreme peak power. It was one of the 3 great immortal empires in the central region. The princes of the 9 Emperors' immortal state were extremely exalted, and their strength was unfathomable. Before this, the 9 Emperors' immortal state had slaughtered many people from the Tianping people. The 9 Emperors' immortal state and the Tianping people had been in constant war, and now, Huang Wudi was going to fight against the royal golden-winged great rock of the Tianping people. Chapter 1129. This golden-winged great rock was an unparalleled demon king. He was originally from the royal clan of the Tianping people, and was a pure-blooded golden-winged great rock. He was born to be a king. The moment golden-winged great rock was born, it was already destined to be the royal clan of the Tianping people. Their blood flowed in their veins. The ancestors of the Tianping people were said to be able to cleave apart the sky with their wings, soaring up 90,000 miles. With a flap of their wings, they could traverse through space and go anywhere in the world. The heavens and earth wouldn't be able to obstruct them. This king of the Tianping people was said to be named Jianantian. He had awakened the bloodline of the golden-winged great rock, an incomparably noble bloodline of the demon race. His strength towered up into the heavens, and no one could contend against him. The Tianping people and the experts of the 9 Emperors' immortal state had clashed many times in the sky-connecting realm. Huang Wudi had even killed many experts of the Tianping people. And now, the incomparably arrogant Jianantian finally couldn't endure it any longer, and issued a challenge to Huang Wudi. Huang Wudi came here together with several experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. His aura was extremely shocking, exuding an aura of a king. He was like a paragon of a human emperor, exuding an air of arrogance that towered up into the heavens. His father named him Huang Wudi, most probably because they hoped that he would become an unrivaled character. Only to see at this moment, Jianantian's eyes gleamed with a terrifying sharpness as golden light circulated around him. He stared at Huang Wudi and coldly spoke, "Before this, I didn't have the time to bother with you. Who would have thought that you would go around bullying my people? From today onwards, I will annihilate you every time I see you." Shameless boasting. An emperor's aura gushed forth from Huang Wudi as a dazzling light circulated around him. He was like an unrivaled character. With a wave of his hand, the people around him all moved away, opening up the battlefield for Jianantian. With the king of our race taking action, a lowly human like an ant will be annihilated. At the back, an expert from the Tianping people spoke arrogantly, filled with incomparable confidence in their king Jianantian. In fact, there was even a hint of fanaticism in his eyes. The golden-winged great rock king Jianantian had dominated the southern regions, and unless his opponent was many levels higher than him, he had never been defeated before. This was their king, an undefeatable king. In the sky-connecting realm, Huang Wudi and Jianantian are both supremely terrifying characters. Only a rare few could stand against them. Now that the strong are clashing against each other, I wonder who would be the victor. Everyone mused in their hearts. A battle between supremely powerful characters of this level was something that everyone was filled with anticipation. Cut the crap. Make your move. Huang Wudi stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His entire body was enveloped by the brilliance of the sovereign path, and it was as if he was wearing the armor of a sovereign. It was as if a Run Huang had descended into the world, and the world had submitted to him. Buzz. The wings on Jiananshan's back spread out, radiating an incomparably resplendent light. Those golden wings were filled with a mysterious and powerful aura, causing the souls of those who stared at them to feel that these wings were even more terrifying compared to immortal-ranked weapons. It's rumored that powerful greater demons with royal bloodlines would awaken the pure bloodline of their ancestors. Their blood would flow in their veins, and they would have the memories of their ancestors. Their innate abilities would be innately powerful, and they would be born kings. Someone mumbled in a low voice, staring at Jiananshan's wings. I want to see for myself how strong the golden-winged great rock is. Huang Wudi spoke. His body shuddered as a brilliant light radiated from him. With a flick of his arm, a fearsome fist light blasted forth, exuding a majestic emperor might that could destroy everything. However, Jianantian closed his wings, shielding Huang Wudi. The fearsome fist light slammed into Jiananshan's wings, but the golden light circulating around the wings directly devoured the fist light, destroying it until the fist light completely vanished. A violent shockwave gushed forth as Jianantian spread his wings open once more. His eyes were terrifying to the extreme, able to see through the hearts of others. Everyone felt their hearts trembling when they heard that he was able to block Huang Wudi's attack with a single flap of his wings. Too powerful. Was this the strength of a royal expert from the Tianping people? How terrifying were these wings? It's rumored that the wings of a golden-winged great rock had to be awakened, just like the wings of an ancient ancestor. No one knew if this was true or false. Huang Wudi's eyes flashed. His immortal foundation manifested as a supreme emperor appeared in his hands, wielding an emperor sword that commanded the world. His sharpness was simply unexcelled in the world. Jiananshan's gaze was as lofty as ever. He stared at Huang Wudi with an attitude of disdain, as though he didn't place Huang Wudi in his eyes at all. Huang Wudi's silhouette flashed as an emperor sword appeared in his hands. His speed was also so fast that it reached a shocking extent. With a single step, his sword slashed out, transforming into a resplendent void tempest that destroyed everything. Jiananshan's wings flapped once more. At this instant, numerous luxurious-looking feathers shot out from his wings. Each and every feather was like an indomitable killing sword, capable of annihilating everything, clashing against the void tempest. In an instant, the destructive tempest engulfed the entire space. Just a single attack from Jianantian was already so powerful that it caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. "Submit!" Huang Wudi roared. In the air, numerous human emperors descended from the sky, all of them wielding sharp swords as they rushed towards Jianantian. This entire space was about to be annihilated. At this instant, Jianantian moved. His incomparably resplendent wings flickered. In an instant, the crowd could only see light. Qin Wentian's eyes narrowed. There was really only light. He basically couldn't see how terrifying Jiananshan's movement technique was. The speed of a great rock was already extremely shocking. It soared up to 90,000 miles. Its wings cleaved apart the skies, and in the time it took for a breath, it could traverse through space. Such speed only existed in the legends. Given Qin Wentian's current cultivation base, If he fought against Jia Nantian, he most probably wouldn't be able to withstand a single strike. He couldn't even see Jia Nanshan's movement technique clearly. In just the blink of an eye, golden marks appeared in the void, as if space had been cut apart. There, the figures of the emperors were all shattered into pieces, and then turned into nothingness, dissipating without a trace. Abruptly, a raging golden wind gusted. The crowd only saw the shadow of an incomparably gigantic golden-winged great rock appearing, enveloping Jia Nantian within it. In fact, it even enveloped the entire space within it. After that, a boundless golden tempest erupted forth as a golden laceration energy that could destroy everything gushed forth. How powerful! The hearts of the crowd trembled when they saw this scene. That entire space was sealed by the wings. Jia Nantian wanted to tear this entire space apart, causing the heavens and earth to turn upside down. This was the law of destruction in his domain. It was too violent and terrifying. Huang Wudi's body grew even larger. The human emperor shadow behind him stabbed the king's sword into the air, wanting to destroy everything. Huang Wudi placed the king's sword before him as a supreme emperor aura gushed forth, exuding an indestructible aura. It was like there was nothing in the world that could destroy him. The wings behind Jia Nantian flapped. A moment later, the incomparably lofty golden-winged great rock also frenziedly flapped its wings. The destructive wind grew stronger and stronger, while the human emperor shadow behind Huang Wudi also grew larger and larger, standing tall between the heavens and earth, transforming into a supreme human emperor. A shrill screech rang out. The incomparably gigantic golden-winged great rock slashed out towards the human emperor, causing a violent shockwave to engulf the entire space. Jia Nantian continued floating there. He was incomparably calm, as though he didn't place the human emperor in his eyes at all. He was the descendant of the primordial golden-winged great rock. Who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him? Not even the human emperor could. Abruptly, boundless runic light gathered around Jia Nantian. He stretched out his palms and instantly, a terrifying claw of a golden-winged great rock descended from the sky. This claw grew larger and larger, blotting out the sun, containing towering runic energy within. Huang Wudi slashed out with the human emperor sword. Yet he actually had no way to shatter the claw. After that terrifying claw actually managed to grab hold of Huang Wudi's body. Huang Wudi's entire body radiated a dazzling light as he transformed into the body of an emperor, undying and indestructible. That claw wanted to crush him, yet it had no way to do anything to Huang Wudi's body. But at this moment, the countenances of many changed. This was especially so for those from the 9 emperors' immortal state. Huang Wudi was actually captured by the claw of his opponent. Although there was no way to destroy his body, he still found it hard to struggle free. That claw unceasingly radiated a terrifying golden light that contained supreme runic energy, slowly tightening around Huang Wudi's body. Busy. With a flap of his wings, Jia Nantian directly appeared before Huang Wudi. His wings cleaved downwards from the top of Huang Wudi's head, causing the body of Huang Wudi to shudder violently. After that, cracks could be seen on the body of Huang Wudi as cracking sounds rang out. So what if he's the human emperor? The king of my race has descended. Who dares to contend against him? The experts from the Tianpeng people spoke in arrogance when they saw this scene. Jia Nantian was the king of the Tianpeng people, a golden-winged great rock. Who could contend against him? Only to hear the human emperor body of Huang Wudi shattering into pieces. Finally, screams of misery rang out as the wings slashed past his head. Finally, the gigantic body of the human emperor shattered into pieces. Huang Wudi's body also dissipated into nothingness, destroyed and sent out of the sky-connecting realm. Huang Wudi has been defeated. Jia Nantian is truly a rare opponent. The hearts of everyone trembled. This Jia Nantian was simply too powerful. Although the battle was fascinating, everyone could faintly sense that Huang Wudi hadn't even allowed Jia Nantian to unleash his strongest combat prowess. They didn't know if there were any other experts who could fight against Jia Nantian. Most probably, it would at least require the peak geniuses of the various major powers. Look at the sky-connecting immortal rock. Jia Nanshan's silhouette is even more resplendent than before. Everyone stared at the sky-connecting immortal rock before them. There were many pictures engraved on it, and all of them were human silhouettes. These were the strongest batch of people in the Sky Connecting Realm. The people of the Sky Connecting Realm referred to it as the Sky Connecting Rankings. It was said that if one was ranked on the Sky Connecting Rankings, they would have a chance to obtain rewards from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. At this moment, Jia Nantian stared at the experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. His eyes gleamed with unparalleled arrogance, causing the hearts of the experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state to tremble. After that he spoke, "Kill them all." Yes. Behind him, the experts from the Tianpeng people all rushed forward, killing their way towards the experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. At the same time, Jia Nanshan's silhouette flickered as he transformed into a bolt of lightning. His wings slashed out, instantly killing an expert. In fact, he couldn't even see Jia Nanshan's movements clearly before he was killed. The disparity in strength was simply too great. There was basically no way to make up for it. Very swiftly, the experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state were all killed. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.